Hello, Internet people. I'm Nick.
I'm Josiah.
We're friends.
We're playing Marvel Rivals.
We're friends and rivals. Well, raise your glass. Bottoms up, everybody. It's episode 21. Our podcast is officially of drinking age in the U.S. And
Hey.
so, get all the Mountain Dew and
yeah.
chug it.
My favorite, classic go-to beverage for 21-year-olds.
Blast. Anyway, this week we've got news, but it's pretty light news week. It's pretty light skin week, to be honest, but we'll get there.
Yeah. We have 2 skins or 4?
It's 2.
Oh, okay.
It's really 1, but
dang, shots fired.
But we'll get there.
We'll get there.
Yeah. Anyway, and then we've got our main topic, which if you have ever wanted to listen to a Rivals podcast to get worse at the game and lower your rank, this is the one for you. We're talking how to lose more and have no fun. So it won't be fun, and you're not going to get anything out of it. But that's our topic.
It'll make sense. It'll make sense when we get there. Just hold on, gang. Hold on.
Yeah. And then we got Armed and Dangerous. We did our first bot game against each other, and it was pretty fun. So we'll talk about that and get ready for the next week. And then we teased it a couple weeks ago, but we got the Moon Knight Hero Spotlight finally coming this week, and then of course the Reddit Take of the Week. But Josiah, how are you doing?
Well, Nick, it has been 21 days since I have finished Expedition 33.
You can't just do this every episode. What's going on in your life other than not playing Expedition 33?
Well, actually, it's been only 20 days that I've thought about it a lot each day, because today Death Stranding 2 came out. Hey!
Yay.
Yeah, woo! Both your and my wife's honorary favorite game of all time, right?
Yeah, have fun watching Josiah fall down a mountain for 80 hours again.
Yeah, she
and then talk about how it's peak art.
She's how dare you? It is. What's funny is I replayed it on PC because it was free on Epic Store. And it had like all the upgraded deluxe stuff. And she was watching me for quite a while. And I'm like, I thought you hate this game. And she's like, yeah, I don't like it. But
I'm sorry. I'm trying to forgive and move on. But there's just a part of me that when you tell me that you have not once but twice played through 80 hours of falling off a mountain and walking in a direction, and yet you introduced me to Hearthstone and Minecraft and said, we're going to love this game, and played maybe 2 hours of it before you moved on, leaving me alone for years.
No.
It hurts me. It hurts me.
Why you got to air that out right now?
I roped you into a podcast for Rivals so that it wouldn't happen to the Rivals. And it's worked so far.
Listeners, don't listen to that slander. All right. We've both had some anime top betrayal moments when it comes to getting each other involved in video.
Now I know if I ever want to make sure that we get more quality time together, I just need to develop a Sisyphus simulator and throw it at you and then talk to you while you're playing it for the next 8 years of your life.
You just need to refine your palate for walking, okay?
Yeah, apparently. Speaking of Sisyphean tasks, guess what I saw this week? Yesterday in a Rivals game.
A guy pushing a boulder up a hill?
I saw my first Ultron Lord icon.
Whoa.
Someone has grinded Ultron for like 30 hours of in-game time in the last 3 weeks.
Dude.
That is insane.
So along with Cool Guy, one of my other favorite Destiny content creators who is also making Marvel Rivals content, True Vanguard, he posted his Ultron guide before Cool Guy did, and his rule for himself is he doesn't post a guide unless he gets Lord. So he was already Ultron Lord. Yeah. It's like, holy crap, that's crazy. Yeah, I can't believe people who do that. I think I'm Centurion right now with Ultron. So I'm getting there. Yeah. Ultron's my second most played character now.
Centurion's like 15 hours in, like that's the one right below Lord.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. It's the third level.
You're talking Captain?
Captain.
The purple one?
My bad.
Okay. That's different.
Starts with a C. Starts with a C. Not Centurion, Captain.
Okay.
But
yeah. Anyway, that was crazy. Also this week.
I was gonna say we had a shared experience this week with Rivals related that I think is no, you know what? This actually might be good for the main topic. Maybe we'll hold it. We to not just make it super vague. We played a ranked game together, and it was possibly both of our worst ranked games we've ever played.
I'm trying to remember this.
Wait, what the heck? Are you serious? It was so bad that you got tilted and were in the chat.
Yes. I remember this now. Vaguely.
Yeah. We'll get there.
I think the like rage cloud made me forget most of that.
I was like, this was like less than 48 hours ago. We've forgotten.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in the main topic for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, I was gonna say one more like slightly Rivals related thing that I had going on this week. I showed you these already, but I think I mentioned like 15 episodes ago or so that I was designing like Lego has like a line of things that are basically little Lego Funkos that you build. They're called brickheads, and I was designing some Rivals characters as these. And so I just had my first set of pieces come in to actually build some of them in real life. And I have Magic, I have Psylocke, and then I just decided for our little group that we play with, like whoever each person gets as their first Lord character, I'm gonna make them one and give it to them. And so I gave Marcy, our editor, his Squirrel Girl one. Earlier this week, and he's been sending me pictures of it, and like it was super cool. And then
did he build it already?
He did, yeah,
nice.
And then a little bit of podcast time travel. I'm currently holding what our other friend, who's our Luna main, will be holding by the time this episode comes out. So I haven't given it to him yet. I'm gonna give it to him tomorrow, and he won't hear this until he's already gotten it. But I made him a Luna one. And then I got the Magic one for myself, and I'm grinding really hard to get the Psylocke Lord so that I don't have to take the Psylocke one apart because it's so cool looking.
Yeah. No, they look really cool. We'll I'll post them to our Instagram soon so that you all can see them because they're super legit. Like they look professional. Nick did a really good job on them. So
I'll probably put them in the Discord too. And these are the only 4 that I've made physically, but I've designed, I want to say like 15 of them now digitally at this point. I'm working on Moon Knight right now, actually. Nice. So I'll probably make more of them physically as time goes on, but I have to like make a big order from Denmark or whatever and wait for the pieces to show up, and it's expensive and there's a lot of shipping, and so I have to do them in batches when I have reason to do so. So. Yeah. Anyway, I'll share that on the Discord this week after the episode comes out and after our friend has gotten his Luna and I don't have to hide it.
Right. Yeah. Heck yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the little bit of news we have then, shall we?
Sure.
Funny enough, this first one could be a podcast patch note as well, but because the official Marvel Rivals account has posted it, now it's news. Last episode, I mentioned how Blade is still in Wakanda, and literally the next day, by the time the episode launched, he was not in said Wakanda.
Yeah, we actually got a Spotify comment that said, like literally like hours after the episode came out, We got a Spotify comment from Dallywag saying, "Your timing's comical with releasing the episode talking about how Blade's still sleeping in Wakanda the day that he wakes up and gets out of bed."
So, Marvel Rivals posted this picture of Jeff standing on the bed in Wakanda, looking at the sheets with a question mark, saying, "There's my Jeff sound for you all."
It was a good transition.
Yeah. Which they put in parentheses. Jeff said, "Where did he go this time?" Which is very interesting, because not only is Blade not there, but this confirms that much like Groot, Jeff has actual language. He's not just these parentheses are a big lore drop, that he's not just a shark making shark sounds. He's speaking actual English words.
Rocket seems to understand him, right?
I think does he? I haven't noticed any interactions.
C-3PO style.
Okay.
But yeah, why don't we get Jeff talking in a real voice when Emma's on the team with him? That would have been cool.
Yeah.
You know that Groot interaction, right?
Right. With
Emma. Like when they're on the same team.
Yeah, where she understands all his things that he's saying, yeah.
Yeah, Groot will just straight up talk in English. I think, is it only when you're playing Emma?
I don't know.
Or
I would imagine that that would be interesting if it was only while you were playing Emma.
I think it might be, because I don't hear it all the time when I see them on the team. Yeah. But I've had it happen a couple times.
Yeah, that's super cool though. I love that they did that.
That's a lot of work. To make that happen only when
right.
Yeah, but it's very cool.
Someone understands me. But anyway, all this to say, are they gonna? Is he coming? Is he gonna be an actual hero in season 3? Like, based on the leaks that we've seen, I don't think so. Which means that they're just gonna keep like dragging him around for longer and longer. Like, someone
make you sweat.
I know. I'm over it. His entire kit has been leaked, so I know that he's like ready. I mean, there's a chance that he could drop in season 3. But someone on Reddit was commenting. They reposted this, and they were like all frustrated. And one of the top replies was like, "Dude, it's the game's been out for like 3 months. Like, Overwatch teased heroes for years before releasing them at times. Like, Sombra, I think, was one of the first characters ever teased, and she didn't come out until like year 2 or 3.
Yeah, so I can see that. Yeah, there was a thing in Marvel Snap where there was a card that had been data mined that everyone knew was going to come out in a season, and they like pulled it the week before because of some sort of like bad interaction with it. They found something totally broken with it or something. And it was Firestar. And there's just been this meme forever of like what happened to Firestar, because it's been like a year and a half since that happened, and it just never came back out, right? Blade is like the Rivals version of that, where like I kind of actually wonder if behind the scenes they were like teasing him to come out in season 2 or something originally, and then like there was something wrong with how he was working. They're like, "Oh, we can't do it yet, but we already teased him, so let's just move him around and make a meme out of it." I don't know. I think their plans are a lot more solid than that, because they would have had to make the Emma Hellfire Gala and everything like.
Oh yeah. Unless every season they just have 2 potential themes ready, so that on the drop of a dime,
3 maps and
switch it. Yeah, exactly. That's prepared.
No way.
Anyway,
Anyway, speaking though of no, I have no. I was gonna make a joke about lack of development resources or something, but we have 2 new skins this week. We have Thor in his cool majestic raiment costume.
Yeah.
And then we have the Punisher. Yeah.
He's the Punisher.
He's just the Punisher without makeup.
And slightly longer sleeves.
Yeah.
And
so they're calling this a Daredevil Born Again skin. I, which I okay.
So,
So here's my thought on this.
yeah, go. Yeah, okay, you go.
It does look a little bit more like him from the show,
Yeah,
and him from
John
the
Bernthal.
show looks like the Punisher, which means it's
Right.
not going to look that different. But it looks a lot more like the default Punisher than like the Bucky skin looks like the default Bucky, right? Like
Yeah.
I because I don't know that it's a character that you can really do much with
Right.
on like a base design. Like Rivals was able to make Winter Soldier kind of specific to
Yeah.
Rivals, but they can't really do that with the Punisher. So like it's cool. It looks a little bit more like John Bernthal, but I worry that you're gonna have to pay the 1800 like Marvel like MCU premium on the skin, and it's just gonna be like basically him with slightly longer sleeves and hair. Like I don't know.
You know what's really interesting is I 100% agree, and I would literally never buy the skin, like as even if I were like a Punisher player. But I think if you were to compare like pixel for pixel, I actually think this skin is more different from the original than some of the other like MCU variants are, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Like you mentioned his hair is actually a different design, whereas
Hmm.
like Scarlet Witch's was just a recolor. It's exactly the
Hmm.
same. Like it's literally just copied and pasted hair. There's nothing different about it whatsoever. And someone did a side by side of John Bernthal in Daredevil Born Again wearing this outfit, and it actually, like, they did a good job. He's got the knee pads where he has them. He's got the like knife holster where it is, like, but
Yeah, no,
I
it's
just
not a
wouldn't have done it. I
right.
just would have done something else.
It's not a bad skin. It's a great like execution of that outfit. It's just
Yeah,
so similar to the base one
right.
that I'm like, why would I
Why
spend
do it? Yeah,
1800
yeah,
on
yeah,
this?
yeah,
Like, yeah, it's
yeah.
I would probably prefer this being the base Punisher because I think it's way cooler than the base one.
Oh,
But
really?
am I really gonna spend the equivalent of $18 on
Yeah, no,
like no, you know? So
absolutely.
it's kind of one of those like if this ends up in the costume coins eventually, I might grab it. But I don't
Yeah.
think I'm ever gonna intentionally buy the Punisher like Temu version. Like I don't know. It's just so slightly
Dang.
different.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I
Thor,
really
on the
like
other
it.
hand,
Yeah, anyway, sorry. I'm
yeah,
just so conflicted.
no, I get you. Thor, on the other hand, looking pretty iconic. You got, not only do you have shirtless Thor, but you got Thor feet going on too, because this boy's got no socks or shoes. So, for all you all you freaks out there, here's your chance. He also has an absolutely boss MVP animation that is super cool. I really like the oh my gosh, totally blanking. The like Bifrost rainbow effect stuff that's going on in all of his animations.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
really
All the
cool.
Bifrost stuff is cool.
Yeah. He like slams Odin's spear on the ground, and the like Bifrost explodes behind him, and it's really neat. So definitely a cool Thor skin. Um, Unfortunately, there's not very many people playing Thor right now. So just like when Doctor Strange got nerfed and they released his Multiverse of Madness skin, here we see again them nerfing a favorite tank, and then immediately releasing a really cool skin. So
Yeah.
maybe this will increase his play rate. But
So I there was a moment in the intro animation, or I think it's the emote, where he like summons. He's sitting on a throne, kind of like leaning, and he
yeah,
summons a
yeah, the spear.
trident.
Well, I think
Yeah,
that's just supposed to be Odin's spear, don't you think?
right. But it's like trident shaped.
Yeah.
Um, and I wondered for a second, like it just gave me this feeling of like, wait, is that a reskinned Namor emote, right? And so I just went to go look at the
Oh,
Namor emotes, and no, apparently it's not.
no.
It just looked
Yeah.
exactly like what I would expect
Huh.
them to do with Namor at some point. It was just weird.
Yeah,
But it
interesting.
looks super cool. I actually
Yeah.
really like the skin. I think
Yeah.
this might be the coolest Thor one.
I still like his big puffy nerfed red
I have such a
red
hard time because I liked it
clothesline.
more before they nerfed it, but they needed to nerf it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I like the staff being summoned into the Bifrost thing. I don't know.
Yeah, super cool. Well, those are the skins.
Yeah. So we also have a patch coming on Friday, as per usual. So this is the 626 patch, and it's going to have those skins that we just talked about. And then this is interesting.
Very.
They're going to reduce the number of votes required for a surrender. Essentially, I mean, they give a big table of all the different team sizes.
Yeah.
Essentially, if you have 4 or more people, one person can vote no, and you still surrender. If you're 3 people or less, everyone has to agree. But you also like it's 3 people or less. Like,
yeah,
I never want to be in a situation where there's only 3 of us left. Like,
right.
That's the one place where I'm like, yeah, I'm voting to surrender. Like, what?
Yeah, you know? right.
But yeah, if you have a full team, you're gonna need 5 people to say yes rather than all 6, which you needed before. Which, as much as I don't like the surrender mechanic, and I'm never gonna vote yes, this probably makes more sense, because if the entire team is agreeing that we're done with this, and there's one person who's me who's going no, never surrender, I should probably lose, and we should probably just surrender.
But see, now you get to keep your honor, and the rest of the team gets to have their way. And,
That's true.
Yeah. The interesting thing was, if you pull up once again referencing Reddit, if you pull up the Reddit post for this update, like 100% of the comments were like, "Thank goodness, now we can finally like stop that one guy who has SVP and wants to keep playing because he thinks he's doing well." Like, I was like, "Whoa!" I was expecting to see, like, when I first saw this, I was like, "Ooh, how is this going to be taken?" Like, I was expecting some like negative reactions. Literally, couldn't find a negative reaction, and I was like, "Wow,
that's crazy.
That's surprising." Yeah. So,
interesting.
Yeah, I'm also a not, but no, I'm the same. I also like have never voted to surrender. Well, granted, according to my own self this week, I
wasn't gonna out you on this.
This is just gonna be too random to get into it. But like, I don't think I realized what the vote to surrender thing was until this week. And I know that we've talked about it. I think I was thinking that it was like a mentality of people surrendering rather than an actual in-game vote.
Yeah, no, it was leaving without losing points or without penalty for deserting, right? Like, it's
yeah.
Right. You're voting to say we can all just leave and not get in trouble. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I wasn't gonna out you on this, but you just did it to yourself. We were playing this terrible ranked game that we'll talk about in the main topic, and the vote to surrender came up towards the end of it. And Josiah was like, "What? That's new." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And we got in this whole argument in the middle of this game where we were losing about like the other person being crazy because we've talked about this before, or no, like this is new. This has never come up, right? So apparently, when we did that Reddit take a while back about, or it was a mailbag question, I think, from
whatever
from
it was, I can't remember,
about vote to surrender. Why does it exist? We had this entire topic about it. Like, why does this mechanic exist? And you thought we were just talking about giving up, not an actual mechanic.
Or if it really was that explicit, I just forgot about it because I hadn't seen it in so long. That's probably more likely. But I genuinely, like, when it popped up a couple nights ago, that was in my brain. That was the first time I had seen it. I don't remember having seen it.
It was just hilarious because we both got stuck in a Spider-Man point off of like, you're trolling me, right? Like, both of us were like,
yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, you can vote to surrender in this game so that you don't get a ban for leaving a game early.
Quitting. Right.
Anyway, there's not a ton more here. They just have some hero bug fixes.
Yeah.
The one I want to mention is, okay, last week we had the whole Iron Fist. No, was it Moon Knight? Moon Knight could throw knockdown and cancel Winter
Soldier's ult. Bucky, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Apparently a lot of things can cancel Winter Soldier's ult on accident.
Oops.
This one sucks. So apparently, Bucky's ultimate could be interrupted if Captain America initiated the team up ability at the same time as Bucky ulted. So this would be a very specific scenario. But you're Bucky, you initiate the team up with Cap, and he doesn't respond yet. So you're like, okay, I'm gonna ult, and you start your ult, and then Cap says, okay, yeah, let's team up, and he cancels your ult, and you run and fly together, and you've lost your ult. Just wow. I'm
Amazing.
so glad that never happened to me.
This would have been such a great way to troll your friends, where your Bucky friends like, all right, I'm gonna ult, and you as Captain America just dap him up and cancel it. Oh man.
Not even sure. It's not super clear whether Bucky had to have already initiated it,
I
or if it was literally just Cap hitting the button.
No,
because it just says
way.
if Cap. It would be abnormally interrupted if Captain America initiated their team up ability at the same time. That's vague. I'm not sure if initiated means Cap hits the button to say, "Hey, you want to do it?" or if it initiated it means Cap said yes.
Yeah, right.
Either
yes,
way, that's awful.
Yeah. But pretty funny. That would be. You just hear. Yeah, right. Armed and dap.
Yeah. Another one that was in here that I thought was funny was Magneto. Sometimes when people destroyed his meteor, it would just start flying all over the place. Instead of being destroyed, it would just kind of start zigging and zagging all over the sky.
Nice.
And then this isn't a patch note, but they do have a patch note for Mr. Fantastic, his E ability thing. Like a fix with that. But I found a Mr. Fantastic bug the other day. It might not be a bug, it might be intended, but it seems weird. I was playing on Krakoa, and I was playing Mr. Fantastic, and I went to do the like grab someone and fly into them.
The Fantastic thrust.
Yeah, the Fantastic thrust. I went to do that to a Bucky who was near one of the portals, and he went through the portal after I had grabbed him, but before I had actually flew, and it portaled him to the other side of the map. I went flying through the air all the way to where he was on the other side of the map and still hit him. Like I was just like tethered to him, but I flew like 50 or 60 meters to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way to abuse that, but it was not what I expected to happen. I thought it was just going to cancel it.
Dang, I'm having a Inglorious Bastards moment, as you say, as you said, meters. What are you, some kind of foreign spy?
That's how they do it in the game, okay?
Speaking freedom units, sir.
I don't know what a meter is, but I know what it is in Rivals.
All right. Good save.
I can't tell you how far that is, but no, it's like sort of almost a yard.
How many feathers does the bald eagle have? Go. Oh man.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we'll update you on that metric in next week's podcast patch notes, but
how many bald eagle feathers there are?
Yeah. There are, just in general, just period. How many bald eagle feathers are there? I'm going to ask that to ChatGPT and see what comes up. Let's get into the podcast patch notes. All right, Nick, 2 minutes on the clock and go.
Okay, so last week we talked about the magic skin, how they had edited the Twitch drop skin with the arm thing. They didn't. They just edited the icon. Yeah, so when you actually get the skin in-game, it has the undershirt.
No.
But the icon does not. So I'm not really sure what was going on there, because they had to intentionally edit the icon to make it different. But now it doesn't match the skin.
That seems like a bug.
There's no such thing as an art bug. They had to literally create an armpit that was not there before. Like, it's not on any of the other icons. But on the Twitch drop one, they intentionally removed it. But then the skin is still like all the other skins, where it still has the undershirt.
Right. No. I'm saying it sounds like the skin is bugged.
But it would. But how do you have
just like they just forgot or like couldn't figure out how to
toggle the shirt off or something?
Yeah.
Maybe. Anyway, Penny's origins is something else that someone on our Discord was talking about this week, McZack. So sent me. Shoot, I'm not gonna be able to find it in time. Sent me the Penny Parker Wikipedia. Did you know Gerard Way created Penny Parker?
What?
Yeah.
When I was a young boy, Gerard Way created Penny Parker.
Yeah, I thought you would appreciate that.
Yes.
Anyway, and then we have a couple Spotify comments that kind of are patch note related. So your name said rocket spiders do not disappear. They stay. That is true. The big spiders that get left behind by rockets BRB, when the BRB gets destroyed, they stay. Just like the big penny mines stay.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. So, and then Dallas Redacted says, please don't say my full government name. I don't know how to change it. I got your back. But the exact situation with Jeff and Groot happened to me. Jeff swallowed just me and took me into a Groot dungeon, who then solo ulted me. I couldn't even be mad. The big brain play. All right.
Oh man, I love it. I love when you get played so hard that you just like can't help but smile at it.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna do a 1 minute extended edition of patch notes, because we have to patch note what we just said in the previous segment. I asked ChatGPT.
I did too.
How many bald eagle feathers are there? And they said a bald eagle has apparently approximately 7,000 feathers. And then it said it can blah 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 blah. And I said no, but overall. And it said, it sounded so confused. It was like, if you're asking how many bald eagle feathers exist overall, like in the world, in italics, then we need to estimate based on the current bald eagle population. And then it estimates there's 316,100,000 bald eagles in the US. And then if each of them have 7,000 feathers, then there's 2.2 billion feathers. And so it says, so approximately 2.2 billion bald eagle feathers exist at any time in the wild. And then I said, are there any bald eagle feathers anywhere else? And it went, yeah. They exist outside of living eagles in several contexts. Molted feathers in the wild, feathers in museums and educational displays, feathers in Native American cultural use, illegally held feathers. And I said, how many? And it said,
I'm dying.
It's a great question. Well, we can't get a precise number. I love how it's sucking up to me, even when I'm being an absolute moron. We can make a rough estimate of how many bald eagle feathers exist outside of living eagles. And then it gives me a step-by-step of how to calculate how many non-living bald eagle feathers there are in the world.
Oh my gosh.
And it comes up with category in the wild, shed but still present in the wild. There's probably 22 million. Legal holdings from tribes and museums, there's probably about 200,000. And then illicit bald eagle feathers, there's under 50,000. So non-living bald eagle feathers, there's about 22.25 million to add to that 2.2 billion. Now I want to know, Josiah, since you asked it as well, how many bald eagle feathers there are.
Oh,
did it just make up all of this, or does it give you the same number?
We can't move on from that like that. There's our episode title, everybody. What if there were 2.2 billion bald eagle feathers in the world? Please, let's do it. No, I basically got the exact same result for living bald eagle feathers, but then I stopped there. I didn't think to move on. Yeah. But what's so funny, I love that you said that it's sucking up to you. Did you hear about the recent patch for ChatGPT that was a rollback? And in the patch notes, it was adjusted ChatGPT's sycophantism. Because it's like trying to suck up. It was like way too often trying to like suck up to the user.
Well, that's what it is. It's an automated yes man, right? Which is why I wasn't even sure if it was going to give me the same answer as it gave you. That's pretty cool that it actually gave us the same answer.
Yeah. Oh, that was amazing.
I honestly, most of my use of AI is trolling it. Like I just want to act as dumb as I possibly can and see it take me completely seriously and try to suck up to me as it does it. It's just so funny to me.
We have very different engagement routines with our ChatGPT.
I also use it for debugging like code issues and stuff, which is what it's really good for. But Actually, it's really bad for that sometimes, but it'll
Anyway,
either know right away, or it'll send you on a 2-hour wild goose chase where it's just making crap up.
right,
So
right.
if it doesn't fix it the first time, then I just give up on it and move on.
Well, there's 3 times our podcast patch note time. We're at 6 minutes, and all right, me
2
with
minutes. Go.
with 2 minutes on the clock. Go. Speaking of Twitch drops, I have a confession to make. I have only gotten 1 Twitch drop.
What?
In this game. I've only gotten 1.
Was
every single time. Yes. Every single time we talk about it, I forget for 2 weeks until we talk about the next drop. And then I remember that I missed the last drop. So I literally only have the Namor skin, which isn't even... actually, it is a good one. It is a good one. But I'm so pissed that I missed out on all the other ones, especially the Emma Frost one. And now I'm upset because I'm not excited to get the Magic one if I'm not getting the... No, this sounds terrible.
Yeah, no, just stop that sentence right there.
Shirtless Magic. If I'm not getting the edited Magic. Oh my gosh. Anyway, moving on. Another patch note from last week, we were talking about the Hubba Bubba Bubble Butt Venom Battle Pass and the bubble blowing emote at the end and how it turns in pink. Unfortunately, the answer to the question of, like, does it transform his default costume into the pink one is kind of a bummer. So if you use it in any other color other than the pink, it creates this like pink shimmer around you until you move. So you'll be like shimmering this kind of like pink glow, but you're clearly still wearing the default costume. If you use it while you are wearing the pink costume, though, you immediately snap to the black costume and then blow the bubble and it pops and you're pink again. So really weird that they did add 2 mechanics to it, and neither of them are very great.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm out of time, but I have one more thing. The Ignite event that's going on right now, every single tank has been played except for Thor.
Ooh.
Mic drop, end of patch note. What does that tell you?
Ouch.
Let's talk about how to lose more and have no fun.
Play Thor.
Dang. If you still remember Nick's slander in the intro of the episode, talking about how, if you don't want to learn anything, listen to this episode. Well, we've arrived at that point in the episode where we're going to talk about that. But no, this is very highbrow, actually. This is an exercise in apophatic learning, or as some say, negative learning, where we learn through negation. We learn how to do something by not doing it. It's very deep and philosophical. You just have to get on our level, I guess. But no, this is once again, shout out to TD2. Sorry, that's not your name. That's your clan. I don't care. It's who you are now.
Me some.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to remember that. So he made a video before Rivals actually even officially came out. I think it was still in beta. It was a few months ago, called How to Lose. And he goes over some points about things. It's very tongue-in-cheek, very sarcastic, like play styles and actions and things to do that cause you to lose, basically. So I thought, you know what? I really liked that. I really like the concept of negative learning in general. I actually think it's really valuable, and it's just funny and sarcastic. So it's all right, why don't we just do our own spin on that? Take some of the points that he used, add some of our own, make our own, journey with it. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We're going to give you a bunch of do nots and kind of talk through each of them, and hopefully you learned something through not doing something.
Not doing things.
Yeah. So kicking
I
it
gotta
off.
say, it was hard to put all of these in the form of do not. Some of these are not great sentences, but
I felt pretty okay with mine.
Mine I did not feel okay with. I think I got them okay, but anyway, let's do it.
That's all right. So the first one, do not self-evaluate. It's not me, it's you. It's not my fault, it's your fault. It's my healers, it's my DPS, it's my tank. It's the matchmaking. It's the rank. It's the whatever. Don't ever acknowledge that you might be doing anything wrong or could be doing anything better or need to pay closer attention to the matchup or need to play more aggressively or more reserved. It couldn't possibly be anything like that. You are the pro gamer of pro gamers, and what you do is the most important thing, and your team just needs to get in line. That, if you follow that rule, if you embrace that mindset, you will absolutely lose more and have no fun.
Yeah, this one is tough because out of all the ones we're going to talk about, no matter how much you try to not do this, you will still do this.
100%.
Like, there's no way to fully accurately evaluate what was and was not your fault and all of that kind of stuff in a game because it's just too complex. There's too much going on.
Yeah. You can't be perfectly objective with yourself. That's just
right. There is like and I see this a lot with really competitive players, like higher ranked players, which makes sense because overall this mindset will make you lose. So having the opposite mindset will theoretically help you quite a bit.
Right.
But this is where you get kind of the weird like hustle bro like overreach of saying like you have to carry every game. If you lose, like it's because you didn't carry. Like it's all about
yeah.
You have to like you can't carry every game. You're not going to carry every game. Depending on your character and your role, it's not your job to carry every game. But yeah, it's they're trying to fight against this, so then they go too far in the other direction. So there's some sort of happy medium. You have to recognize things happen sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes your team just doesn't gel. Sometimes there's a Smurf on the other team. It happens.
Sometimes
but that can't be your go-to. It's like the guy who always cries that there's a cheater in the lobby every single time.
Right. Like yeah. Sometimes you have the ranked game that we played a couple nights ago, no. and it absolutely is the team's fault. Where you have 5 people insta-lock duelist, and instantly, oh boy, this is going to be a good one. And the entire game, yeah, the entire game, you have flyers dominating on the enemy team, and your duelists are Black Panther, Spider-Man, and then the Thing.
Right. We had, I forget who they were playing initially. They were playing Doctor Strange or something. And at some point in the middle of all the flyers destroying us, while they were yelling at us, they switched to the Thing because that was better. Fighting Iron Man, Ultron, and Storm. They go, what we need is the Thing. So that game, I don't normally get tilted, but that game I just blew up on the people in the chat because what happened was 5 people in insta-lock duels at the beginning, but then they all paired back and we ended up at 2-2-2. And it's like, okay, well maybe there's a chance, people recognize that we need a team comp and they're not just gonna play the character they want to play. Okay, cool. Unfortunately, that meant that we had 5 DPS mains who were all mad that they weren't on DPS. So I ended up on DPS and I was playing Psylocke initially before we knew that we were up against a bunch of flyers. I was just not having any luck. It just was not working. So I'm trying to figure out what can I switch to? What can I switch to? I've tried to play Winter Soldier for a bit because he's not going to hit people in the air at long range, but he can pull people down at mid range. And he's got some of that poke damage, and he's a character that I'm actually confident on. I'm not confident on a lot of poke characters, so I'm doing my best. And the chat is just flaming me for every possible decision I'm making because I'm not succeeding at killing them. But I'm not succeeding at killing them for a lot of different reasons. Anyway, it was a mess of a game. And then at the very end, someone who'd been playing strategist the whole game says, "Wow, we lost because you guys didn't switch to Hela. If someone had just switched to Hela, we would have like rolled them. It would have been so easy." And I think I don't maybe I whited out, so I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I was seeing red.
Eyes rolled back in the head.
So correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure what I said back to them was like, if you think that someone switching to Hela would have flipped this game, you should have played Hela instead of yelling about every possible decision I was making being the wrong one. Right, switch to Hela and I would have played support. Or shut up. Like
Yep. I know. I'm sitting there as the other strategist being like, I'm trying to do everything I can and just getting absolutely bodied. And I was trying to like back you up a little bit in the chat. I was trying to like agree with the like, hey, just like shut up and focus. And it didn't matter. What a way to open this up by immediately showing our hand that we are the problem too. If you want to make the game a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Yeah. This was my one time.
No, I know. No, it was really bad. But on that, perfectly segueing into the next one, do not praise or compliment your teammates. Flame and blame, baby. Flame and blame. If people are doing a good job, don't be encouraging. Just keep your mouth shut. Talking to other people, that's freaking weird. This is the internet. We don't know who they are and where they are. They don't need our approval.
Really human beings.
They're not human beings. Dude,
they're all bots.
I've had some games where we're losing, and it's ranked, and we're losing. And I had one that I'll never forget. I don't remember if I mentioned this in an episode or not. I have this memory that I like wanted to and intended to, but never did. But I was playing Cap in ranked for some reason, and I don't know why, because I'm not like a Cap guy. But I was doing fine. I wasn't like throwing or anything like that. But at one point I died and I apologized and I'm like, man, like, I'm sorry. I'm trying to be, someone had asked me to be Cap. That's why, because there was a Bucky. It was the team up. Anyway. And I'm like, I'm sorry, like I'm not super great with Cap. And like everyone on our team was like, it's okay, Cap, we love you. And I'm like, oh man, you guys are the best. And everyone like sent little like heart like heart text emojis. I'm like, wow, we lost horribly. And that was a great ranked game.
Yeah.
Like being cool and just like being friendly and having a good time and encouraging people, like that always makes things better, and it can make people who are doing bad get better. But flaming and blaming is only going to make people get more tilted and get more angry and likely continue to decline and not want to try.
Yeah, for a lot of different reasons. One, they're distracted because now they're getting all emotional, like being like upset by you.
Yeah.
Also, now they're probably stopping in the middle of the game to start typing at you because they're angry at you. And now they're, I see people stop in the middle of a fight and start typing once they get tilted.
Right.
And then of course you're dying.
Better. Right.
Yeah. This one, if you really want to lose more and have even less fun, don't say anything helpful or productive the entire game, and then do your flaming as soon as the game is already over and you've lost.
Yeah.
Because then you'll ensure that even more potential players in the player pool that might be on your team next game are really upset from what just happened at the very end of their previous game.
Necros was right.
That's a great way to have no fun.
Just be Necros.
All right, topic over.
Anyway, yeah. Next one. Do not set reasonable goals. Ever heard of SMART goals? No, you haven't. What do I look like? Some kind of freaking geek? You talking about measurable, achievable, reasonable? No. You want to have impossible expectations. You want to
carry every game.
Huh?
carry every game.
Yeah, yep, exactly. You need to carry every game. This is the exact hustle bro culture that Nick was talking about. Like if you don't win and you're not MVP and you don't have you're not getting all the medals at the end of the game and you don't have, the lowest deaths and all that stuff, you're trash and you're going to be trash until you get that.
Like,
It's the report card kid who is never going to be good enough unless it's all A pluses. But except you do it to yourself.
look, you need to wake up at 4:30 a.m. and hop on comp. Start with 3 hours of aim training, then hop on comp, and you do not get off until you're celestial.
Right.
Do not go to sleep. Do not eat.
Right.
This is the way.
Never take a break if you're doing bad. That's part of this too. This is one that I know I struggle with because like I constantly am scoreboard checking and like I know when I lose MVP every time because I watch it and I'm like, I gotta get MVP. I gotta get MVP. Like if I'm not MVP, I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, you watch MVP a lot.
I do. And that's with having done a podcast with episodes about how the scoreboard doesn't say everything. Yeah. But I like again, just being a human being and having inconsistency and duplicity without even, intending to. Yeah, this is a big one for me. And I think a lot of people as well.
So to turn off the apophatic learning for a second,
yeah.
the actual thing here. So I was watching. There's a great channel. I'll link them in the description because they're probably my like favorite Rivals channel of the week. That I'm just kind of binging all their videos. It's Death and Gaming, and they're a Psylocke main.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, I think we've watched a video together of theirs before. They're a Psylocke main, and if you ever want to see how to do more than just like try to chase down every kill as a DPS and like really peel for your team, really defend your team, like contribute in a bunch of different ways, this channel is fantastic. All of the videos have very simple titles. They're like 30 minutes long each. It's a replay of a specific game and he's walking through one specific thing that he's working on in each one. And all the titles are super simple. They say exactly what they are, so they're very easy to go like, oh, I want to watch this one.
Oh, nice.
But he was talking about this exact thing about the reasonable goals. What he was talking about is about people get really hung up on this idea that they get into a game and they have to carry it, right? Mm-hmm. And they put all this pressure on themselves and they don't play very well because of it. And what he was trying to point out was like, look, if your team comes into the game theoretically at a 50-50 chance of winning, your job is to make it a 51-49. Like if everyone on your team is doing that, now you're up at 56, and statistically, like that's the highest win rate that any character has in a game. Like all this kind of stuff. What he's saying is like your goal is to just incrementally make it more likely that you're going to win. And so you're what you need to be doing is going through and just keeping your eyes out, trying to figure out how do I defend my team, how do I do this, how do I block off attacks that the enemy team is going to come in, ruin their opportunities. There's a lot of like, if I can stall the point for a couple seconds and then get out of there without dying, that helps us, all these kind of things that you're not thinking about when you're thinking, I need to get hexa kills and wipe the enemy team and get all these highlights. Like the highlights do not actually win you games.
100%.
One of the things that he said in that just blew my mind, I've been thinking about it all week and getting a lot better results because of it, is he was talking about how sometimes the big team wipes actually hurt you compared to just staggering people, right? Like getting one kill every 20 seconds. He had a whole video on this where he was saying getting one kill every 20 seconds is going to do so much more to snowball a game than getting 6 kills at once. Because the 6 kills at once, they're all immediately regrouping back together, and the next fight could go either way. When you're killing someone every 20 seconds, they're either giving up 20 seconds waiting for that last person, or they're in a 5v6 for the entire rest of the game, which, point is, what you need to do to win is not as drastic as your head makes it seem. Like, you make it seem like you have to carry, you have to do all this, you have to do all that. It's all these tiny little incremental things that you often just pass up and don't do when you're kill hungry that are actually what can like make you win more. So I'm trying to work on that. I'll let you guys know how it goes in the next couple weeks as I like really try to focus on the little incremental stuff. But it's been helping me so far. I mean, I've been climbing a little bit. It's been good.
Yeah. No, that's great. That's a really great
Well,
take.
you're not here to learn how to win. You're here to learn how to lose. So let's get back to that. Next
Yeah.
rule: do not play anyone other than your main.
Right. You gamer are the immovable object, and change is the responsibility of the weak. All right. Yeah. I hope those snaps come through on the mic. You insta-lock that Spider-Man, dog. You stay as Spider-Man, even if they're all flyers and the rest of your team also pick duelists. You stay Spider-Man even if you have no kills, all right? Like, you gotta look out for number one. And who is number one if not yourself? So as long as you do this, as long as you pick a character, stick to him no matter what, never adapt to any situation, never adapt to the needs of your team, you are guaranteed. You heard it here, okay? I guarantee you, or your money back, your time listening to this podcast back. If you do this, you will lose more and have no fun. That's a promise.
True. Yeah. Yep. I don't know what to say about this other than you need flex.
You gotta learn how to play.
You don't need to flex because you want to lose. Don't flex.
Yeah, and now an important part of the negative learning is we peel back and we address the positive side. You gotta learn how to play other people, gang. You gotta learn how to play other roles, gang. You can't just. I know I get on DPSs. I know I get on my duelists. I love it. Look at this. Mwah, blow a kiss. Extend an olive branch. I love you. You can't just play strategist. You can't just play Vanguard. You have to learn multiple characters. We've talked about it so much in this show. The roles and the sub roles of everything, like Marvel Rivals, rock paper scissors. It's a pick counter pick game. You need to know where you fit in to the counter pick. Right. How you complement the picks, the other picks on your team. That's such an essential part of your skill. Could be lower than the enemy team, and it won't matter if you have the flexibility to play against their weaknesses.
Right. I mean, you talk about the pick counter pick game. Like, you can't play that game if you only have one character. You're not playing it. You're just setting it up for them to play it against you, and to have frustrating games. I will say, it's not even just like flexing to different roles within the role. We talked about this back in episode 5, I think, when we were talking about, maybe it wasn't 5, maybe it was later. I don't know, about the characters that we pick and why. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll give a DPS example because it's easy, but I'll give a Vanguard example too, so we're not just picking on DPS. But if you're a Hawkeye main and you're like, okay, yeah, fine, I'll learn someone else, and you pick Hela, that didn't really help that much. If you're a Vanguard main and you specifically are a Venom main and you go, okay, I'll pick Cap to learn Cap, that didn't really help that much. You need within your role, you need to learn someone that you can switch to when your main character is being countered. Like, find someone that you can switch to when they're countering whoever it is that you normally play. Because otherwise you're just setting yourself up to have the exact same thing happen. And you're going, I can't swap to them because they're not good either.
Oh, sweet. 31 flavors of defeat. That's not...
It's not 38 flavors now. So the corollary to this, it's very similar, but it's also opposite. Also, if you want to lose and have no fun, don't play characters you're confident with. So, you want to only one trick if you want to lose. But if you don't one trick, then you want to play everyone a little bit and know none of them very well. So absolutely. filling 2/2/2 or picking meta counters is all that matters. It is much more important that your Namor has a Hulk than it is the fact that you've never played him before this comp match and don't know what his abilities do. That character that you haven't even looked at their F1 screen to see what their abilities are, pick them. They're meta. Just do it. Right. Yeah.
Their win rate is through the roof right now. It doesn't matter that you've right. Yeah.
You've never played strategist in your life? 3 supports is meta right now. Pick that Luna. Yeah, you know what she does. She does the you dance and you win. It's a player.
I mean, drop the mic. Exactly right. No, what we're saying here is that we just talked about like the meta and counter picks and stuff, but like you have to know the character. You have to do some experimentation, and you have to figure out like it's so valuable to get some experience with everybody at least on some level, and so that you can know like what the picks and counter picks are. But please, if the just using your example, if the Namor is requesting a Hulk and you're going to play Vanguard, but you've never played Hulk before, like don't do that. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to your team.
Namor being slightly better does not make up for the game being a 5-person team, because you have no idea what you're doing, right? Like
right.
the team ups are really powerful, but they're not more powerful than having 6 people that know what they're doing. So, I say this a lot, like, unfortunately, well, how do I say this? Despite what a lot of people in quick play believe, quick play is designed so that there's no stress about whether you're going to win or lose, so that you can try to learn characters, learn the maps, practice things that you're not good at yet. I know every time I pick Hawkeye in quick play and I go 3-12, that there's 3 people on my team who are saying, you shouldn't play Hawkeye. You don't know how to play him. And I know I've said back to them,
that's why I'm in quick play.
it's a good thing that there's this thing called quick play where I can practice. And they go, they never respond to that because it's obviously true. But they're gonna. I know you're gonna get flamed for playing a character you don't know. But rather be flamed in quick play for playing a character you don't know than throwing your ranked game for playing a character you don't know.
And that, my friends, is why I mute chat when I play characters for the first time in quick play. Yeah. Oh man, well, moving on. Let's get you some more tips on how to lose and have no fun. So do not think about movement and positioning. 18th century warfare, best century warfare. All right, Exactly. Walk to position, line up, stare the enemy down. If you can't see the whites of their eyes, you don't fire. You stand there and you shoot. This is the only 2 things you need to know are W and left click, okay? If you press those 2 buttons the entire game, I promise you will lose and have no fun.
I was gonna ask, is this a podcast episode on how to lose the American colonies? Is that
hey, history rhymes, and the failure of King George's armies in the 1700s it rhymes with failure in Marvel Rivals Ranked today. Isn't that amazing? Learn history, people. It's important.
That's why I spend all my time in game trying to find trees and rocks and stuff to hide behind in a raccoon skin hat that I got by killing my own rocket, so that I can win the game.
Dang, that's messed up.
Sorry.
No, this is to
take my arm.
Jeez.
You've heard that interaction, right?
No. Oh, Bucky. Yeah.
He's like,
right.
How much for the arm? And he goes, 1 raccoon skin cap. And he goes, oh, jeez. I mean, I'm not a raccoon, but.
No, it's we've talked about the rubber band a lot. You can bring that into this on like how to stay with your team and make sure that you're not going all over the place. But it's also just like use cover. Like learn how to get your angles. Remember that there is environmental destruction in this game, and I've seen some really nasty plays utilizing that in a really good way, especially with like the pokers, like longer range characters getting nasty angles. it's so important. It's so easy to just want to like stay center lane at all times because you know you have the payload and you got to push it. It's true, yes, but it's so easy to forget that like you don't have to win the battle there. Like you need to continue to push the payload, but to actually claim victory, you have an entire map to move around and angles to exploit and cover to benefit from and teammates to protect and stay with. There's so much here. And if you're just walking forward and trying to shoot and or punch everything that's directly in front of you, you're gonna lose and have no fun.
Yeah, I think this is a very deep topic that I think at some point we're gonna have to do a topic or 2 or 3 or 10 on different positioning things. Because I mean, this is the one that's like really hard to do because you just kind of autopilot into whatever it is that you're like, you know, zoned in on. Like you see that person running away and you just completely forget positioning and go, I'm going after them. You know, but that causes so many chain reactions of bad things happening. So we'll have to do some movement and positioning topics at some point.
Yeah.
But before that, we want to lose more. So here's what we're going to do. Do not play characters any differently on defense than you do on attack, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All that matters is team wipes and getting as close to the enemy spawn as possible. Whether they're the attackers, whether they're the defenders, you want to be in their spawn at all times. And all you're trying to do is kill them all as quickly as possible. Payload, schmayload. Pushing it, you don't need to do it. Defending it, you don't need to do it.
Listen, alphas. Listen up, alphas. It doesn't matter that science continues to disprove the reality of a wolf hierarchy with an alpha in general. That doesn't matter at all. All right, you're an alpha dog. All right, and the number one way to assert your dominance is to see those little babies squirming behind the health shield of their spawn room. Okay, and you know what? If you sit there and they swap to Doctor Strange and pick a side route and portal their entire enemy team onto your point and backcap while you're sitting in their spawn, well, you're going to lose and have no fun. And that's what we're here to do, right?
And that usually happens. That usually happens on the game where you, on attack, did not make any progress on the point, and all they have to do is touch it. For some reason, those games are the ones where everyone pushes up all the way into the spawn because they're like, oh, we can't let them have any moment of getting on the point, so let's not be on the point.
Yeah.
And you lose.
We're not homo DPS yin. We are homo sapien. We're about the thinking, all right? The strategery, okay? We're trying to make the plays with the big brain, and that's I'm talking like I'm still in alpha bro mode, but yeah, think about what you do.
Speaking about thinking about what you do not learn from your mistakes.
Don't do that.
Don't think about things that you didn't do good. Just think about that one time that you were 33-2. And that's the only thing you should ever think about. You know what you learn when you win is yeah. But you know what you learn even less when you lose.
Yes, that is true. I mean, you probably don't even have any mistakes to learn from anyway.
That's true.
And when you do fail, failure has nothing to teach you. You've learned everything you need to know from winning.
Well, and we already established that the failure was everyone else and not you anyway. So why would you have anything to learn from it? Get better teammates. That's what you learn.
Sure. And you can look at your game history and see that you were SVP on at least one of those losses. You have everything you need.
In fact, if you can SVP farm, that's even better.
Right.
Because then you know it's not your fault.
Right. Better to be an SVP in a losing team than win and not be MVP. That's my mantra.
You know what? I think the best way, if we want to lose more, and have no fun is to just stop. Just stop trying. Just don't.
Yeah,
Just
right,
stand
right,
and spawn.
right. Do not
Just
try.
yeah. If it
That's
doesn't
not on here,
start
but
right
it can
away,
be now.
going your way, just stop.
Right, right.
Start typing.
Now, to peel it back a little bit, like one of the most genuinely valuable stats that you can look at, and that like that does mean something, is your deaths. Looking at the score screen and seeing like, oh man, like I am like way over dying. Like we're losing, but like I have the most deaths. Take a step back and think about what you're doing. Is it the positioning? Is it that you're playing Spider-Man and he's not able to counter anybody on the enemy team? Is it that, you know, there's so many different things that it could be, but one of the best ways to improve, this is such I think we might have mentioned it before in this show, like working on the things that you're good at has you're like, it's a valuable thing to do, but you're going to show very little improvement with things that you're already good at. Working on something that you've been struggling with, though, like you can probably cover a lot of ground very quickly if you're like, okay, maybe I can improve my accuracy a little bit. Yeah, you probably can if you work on that. But if you're like, dang, like, can I prevent myself from having the most deaths on the enemy like on my team? Like if you focus on something like that, you are probably going to see much more value come from trying to correct like those simple mistakes that you don't even think about that happen subconsciously.
Yeah, it's all about whether the thing that you're trying to get better at is a specialist type thing or a generalist type thing, right? So with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
specialist type thing, like I want to be the best Spider-Man or whatever. Like if you're working on being a better Spider-Man, then working on the thing that you're already good at, being Spider-Man, like is going to get you more towards that goal.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
for generalist things, which playing the game better overall is a generalist thing.
Right.
There's all sorts of different things, like all these things we've talked about movement and counterpicking and peeling and all these types of different things. Then you got to pick the things that you're not doing well so that you bring the whole score up
Right.
of this thing, right? Picking the thing that you're already a 5 out of 5 at and making yourself a 5.1 out of 5 at isn't going to help as much as getting
Yeah.
that 1 to a 3. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, congratulations. Like you have 100% accuracy, but to get it, you've had to be front and center, like just shooting at the enemy tank, the largest target there. Like how much of a difference would it make if you had 50% accuracy, but you had half as many deaths? Like
Right.
just being able to have presence in every fight will make the difference.
Yep. All right, what's our next one? How do we get worse?
Gang, do not try and get better. Winners win because they are naturally skillful.
Sure.
This is kind of the flip of the last one in some ways, but you don't need to work on yourself. You don't need to work on your positioning. You don't need to work on trying to make sure that you're healing priority targets as quickly as possible. You don't need to try and go in the practice range and use the aim training tools to learn a character's feel when it comes to fire rate and damage fall off and things like that. Like you don't need to, there's no value in all of these people on the internet, all these YouTubers making guides for characters. They're just trying to collect clicks. All right. Yeah. They're there to exploit you. Cool
so stop.
guy. He's not trying to teach you anything. You're not going to learn
anything. If you listen to
valuable
podcasts
there.
About things to get better, stop. Don't listen to them anymore.
Turn it off right now.
Wait a second. Wait.
Oh shoot.
No.
Oh man.
Yeah. I don't even know how to like say this one, because if you think through the implications of it all comes down to natural ability, it gets pretty bad pretty quick. Like that line of thinking doesn't go anywhere good.
Yeah.
That's not how life works. Like you might have some natural abilities that just make it easier to get started than it would be for someone else, but
Yeah.
that's not ultimately where things end up. It's not all about genetics.
Yep.
All right. But you know what? I don't even know why this one's on the list. You know what the best way to not have fun is? Don't have fun.
Yeah. Fun, fun, gang, is for children. You're an adult. You have a full-time job. This needs to be, you need to treat this game like your job, okay? The same sense of gravity and seriousness that you exert when you pay bills, okay? That needs to be how you look at this game. You need to grind. You need to hustle non-stop,
You
okay?
need to stress and get pre-tilted every time we talk about playing ranked.
I don't know anybody like that. I don't know anybody who does that. I love playing ranked. You need to make sure that the only thing you care about is the color of your rank icon. Okay.
Right.
Because if that is the only thing that matters, then you relinquish. How freeing is it to relinquish your agency, to relinquish your happiness and joy to a machine? Let's
You know what
the engagement-based matchmaking determine your happiness.
You know what the best side effect of this is when it all becomes about the color of your rank badge?
Yeah.
You get to go onto Reddit and onto games like within, quick play, like after you look up people's career pages or use a tracker or whatever, and let other people know how useless they are as human beings because they're in silver and you're in diamond.
Right.
That's such a great perk. That's like the most fun that you're gonna have because you're not gonna have any fun at all.
It helps scoop some ashy substance into the gaping hole that is your your vacant heart, and having something in there is better than having nothing in there. And if all you can get is the ash of flaming strangers online over the color of a ranked icon, then hey, it's better than nothing. Dang, that one got kind of dark, dude.
Yeah, we've been hitting this one pretty hard. Let's wrap up with just a couple of role specific tips that we can kind of just rapid fire and not get so dark about. So vanguards, overextend and don't use cover. Just stand right in the middle of the street and hit W, and then complain that there was no heals when you find out that you were the only one who was alive when you decided to push in alone.
Yep. What good are you as a tank if you can't take all the damage? That's literally the point, right?
Yep.
If you're a duelist, overcommit and don't peel. What the heck is that? What good is a DPS if you can't get the kill? You got that invisible woman to half health at one point. It doesn't matter that Rocket's already healed her back up to full. You saw that health bar hit 50%, which means she can die. So your time is now. You freaking dive, bro.
If it bleeds, you can trade your life for it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And a trade that's just 2 kills. That's just more.
Especially if you're Jeff using your ult.
Right.
Yeah, that's a special
for the
case.
kill god.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much to say about this other than the name of the class is Killbot for a reason. It's not duelist or something that implies, like parrying and going back and exchanging blows. You run straight through and you murder everything you can. And the vanguards are the ones that worry about defense and keeping the team alive. That's not your job at all.
When that strategy ends up with you dying over and over, it's because the vanguards aren't taking all the damage. Or
they should be walking further ahead and keeping up with you as you're dashing into the back line of the enemy. Where's the vanguard? They're supposed to be right in front of you, 2 feet in front of you at all times.
Right.
And if you know what, if you're one of those heal bots, overinvest and don't swap to protect yourself when they go all divers. You don't swap to Luna or Mantis. You keep playing. You keep playing Adam Warlock no matter how many times Wolverine pulls you off into oblivion and murders you in your sleep.
Yep.
You do not swap to protect with a character who can protect your backline. Don't do it.
Right. And you're there. Hey, if you're playing with your buddy, you need to make sure that your buddy never dies. Okay. If they
Only
die,
him.
you're a bad friend. so you need to make sure that you don't look at anybody else's health bar. Hey, if you have a tank, okay, if you have a Vanguard, you need to make sure that you are just holding left click on them the entire match. Don't look at your duelists.
Not just
well,
left click. You use every single cooldown ability you have
yes.
the moment they lose 1 health.
Right.
Okay? You're not saving that bond, the Guardian's bond, whatever it's called. You're not saving the Loki lamps. You throw a Loki clone on your Vanguard who's standing in the middle of the street like a good Vanguard does, just like we talked about, and you hit that lamp immediately when they're fighting one person. Because when they're fighting 6 people, you'll have 20 seconds left before you can do it again.
Exactly. You'll have kept that Vanguard alive in that moment. So that's all that matters.
That unimportant moment.
Well, this was a funky one, wasn't it? But I hope that through our sass and sarcasm and putting on of the cloak of hustle alpha bro toxicity that you learned a thing or two.
I gotta admit, Josiah, I'm a little bit worried about the method acting of this one. I'm feeling a little jerkish right now after all of that negativity.
Dude, we should go online and flame some people.
That's our Reddit take this week, is us just flaming random people in Reddit comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then telling them to listen to the podcast.
Man, no. I think we need a moment to cool off and get humble. Man, Sebastian, could you help us out for a second?
Hey chat, Sebastian Stan here, armed and dangerous again.
Well, Josiah, how do you like them squirrels?
I don't really. I lost. I lost, everybody. Just as interestingly, just as armed and dangerous predicted. Just as the machine said I would, unfortunately. and yeah, Squirrel Girl was supposed to be your LVP, and she was your MVP. Dang it!
Yeah, which I'm ashamed of, but I think it didn't calculate my usefulness on Penny quite as well.
Yeah, but you know what? I got SVP, so it was my literal bots who let me down. It's not my fault.
Oh, my team comp was definitely better, but that was fun,
dude. Yeah. We got stomped.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks we're not going to be able to play it in game because you're going to be traveling.
Yeah.
Although you know what, depending on how late you can stay up, we could just play our one for this week like as soon as we finish recording.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, maybe we'll be able to do that, but we probably won't be able to do the next one after that.
Yeah.
So it'll just be back to how we used to do it, about the machine telling us who wins. But this was fun. We're gonna wait a couple weeks again because Josiah's not gonna be around. We're gonna wait a couple weeks on trying to invite people on Discord to join the game with us, but we do want to do that. So if you are interested in that, you're not in the Discord yet, you got a couple weeks to join and meet some people, and hopefully we'll have a time that we can do kind of regularly to do this in the future. I just realized the week that you can't do this, I'm not even sure if you can, but maybe I can just set up a 6v6 bot game where it's just the bots.
You're spectating?
Yeah, I'll spectate and just let it run for 15 minutes.
That'd be really interesting. Huh. Yeah.
I'll see if that's possible. I'll let you know next week.
Yeah.
But for now, let's get started. Are we doing 2-2-2, or do we want to just allow whatever to happen?
I'm partial to 2-2-2 myself.
Okay.
For this, but
and we're gonna do the same rules that we did, where we have to pick a team captain. If we get to play the game, we have to play as whoever we picked.
Yes.
If we don't get to play the game, then it doesn't matter. But
yeah. We'll get to.
okay. So Josiah, you're first as always. You get Groot or Hulk.
Oh man, am I doing this? Am I gonna pick Hulk in hopes that I get Namor again and can finally just dominate?
Or are you gonna pick Groot again and hope that his AI is better in the real game?
I know, no.
Battle Matrix.
I'm going Hulk. Your AI Hulk was super aggressive.
He was. He was chasing you down specifically the entire game.
I know. It was crazy.
Yeah. Okay, I get Groot or Cap. I'm gonna hope that the AI Cap is annoying. We'll see. He's not gonna be good though. Groot's not gonna be good either. I think I would rather have a Cap die a bit than have a Groot just constantly wall me off and wall the pokers that I have off. So I'm gonna go with Cap. He has less throw potential. All right, Duelist, you get Hela or Iron Man?
Ooh, I'm gonna go Iron Man.
Ugh. Okay, I get Squirrel Girl again or Magic.
Oh no.
Oh.
Is this your team captain?
But you have an Iron Man already.
That's all right. Just Magic has counters. You can right click, you can E.
Yeah, those are my two options. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or I could get Squirrel Girl, who was MVP for me this last game.
What's she gonna do against Iron Man?
I don't know. She might have aimbot or something. You know what? I'm gonna play Magic. Let's do it. I have to.
Nice.
Right.
I think that's a good choice.
All right, Magic's my team captain. You get Cloak and Dagger or Luna Snow for your first sport.
Ooh, that's tough. I'm tempted to pick Cloak and Dagger as my team captain, but I think I'm gonna keep rolling the dice. I'm gonna pick Luna Snow for bot.
Okay, bot Luna Snow. I get Loki or Mantis. I don't like either of these, to be honest, as a bot.
I wonder how Loki bot is.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Mantis. We'll see.
I don't know, man. We're like right now we're assuming a lot of dunk on these bots when honestly they were pretty decent. Yeah. I felt like my healers were bad classically as a DPS. But no, they were doing pretty good.
I don't know. I just most of the healing on Loki is positional, and if he's just kind of chucking clones out places, like that's not going to be super helpful. Yeah. So, okay, your second Vanguard, you get Thor or Magneto?
Lol, Magneto.
All right, I get Venom or Groot. I'm going full dive, I guess.
Yeah. Venom is. Oof, this is going to be nasty to fight against.
I still can't hit Iron Man though. Just gonna be a problem. All right, you're
getting scared.
Second Duelist, Hela or the Punisher?
Oh, I'm getting scared. What am I gonna do here? Oh man, who am I gonna play? I feel like I'm not gonna have as much impact if I'm a strategist. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what? Dang, I've played him once, but I guess Punisher for team captain. Here we go.
I can see this working for you.
Yeah. I did really well in the one game that I played, which could just totally be coincidence, but I feel I really liked him. So
get that shotgun out, catch yourself some symbiote pieces. Yeah. All right. Well, I get Hela or Iron Man.
Oh,
interesting. Do I just want an Iron Man fight in the sky, or do I want to count on a Hela being able to snipe the Iron Man?
Yeah, both of those. There's some good potential.
I think I'm gonna go Hela.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, this game really wanted one of us to play Hela, so
yeah. All right, last but not least.
All right, last for you is Ultron or Rocket.
Oh my gosh, I would. In my head, I was like, if they freaking give Ultron as an option, I'm gonna be so pissed because that I would have literally ended your whole career because you guys don't have any range. Well, you have Hela, but dang. Okay, I am not expecting. Oh, dang. Is supercomputer Ultron gonna be good? Is the literal bot being played by a literal bot gonna have really nasty aim or really bad aim? but I
or
feel
do
like
you just want a heal machine with Rocket, or is he going to be playing no heal Rocket?
yeah, DPS only Rocket. I don't know. If there's anything I learned from playing against AI with Battle Matrix Protocol, it's that the AI can do some pretty big brain stuff. I'm gonna take a risk and go with Ultron. Give him Iron Man's team up. I've got 2 flyers. You've got none. I'm gonna kind of lean into that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried that all of this is going to come down to how good my Hela is. All right, who's my strategist?
Ooh.
Ultron or Invisible Woman?
Ah.
I have to go Invisible Woman because I don't have enough healing if I take Ultron, but he would be nice to have in the air. But yeah, Invisible Woman it is. All right, well, this is a lot closer than the machine had it last time. It's got me winning slightly by like 0.6%. It's got your SVP being Iron Man, which completely makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And your LVP being Luna Snow.
Yeah, she always is, unfortunately, even though she's really good.
Yeah, and then on my side, it's got Magic as the MVP. I'll hope I can live up to that. And the LVP being Invisible Woman, which is very similar to Luna. The lifeline supports tend to be lower on the win rate, but needed.
Well, I am going to be having to deal with you a lot because you're probably not going to try and tank Hulk and Magneto, which means your options are me and Luna. We're gonna be bloodying our knuckles against each other.
Yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I'm not super confident. I know it has me winning, but I think that's only because Magic's win rate is so good. I don't know that this team comp is really working in my favor.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
This will be a good one.
All right. Well, with that, let's talk about your boy.
Yeah. All right, so as always, our method for hero spotlights, we go down the list of each of our most played characters to least, and we swap off each week. So we're now at the beginning of another cycle. It's my turn, and this is my 8th hero spotlight, which we're getting through these.
Yeah,
that means it's like our 15th character, I think.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And currently, he's my 6th most played. So he's past 2 people that I've already done a hero spotlight on. Josiah, how much have you played?
Most played.
Shut up.
I got to do the same thing last week too.
Yeah. Shuffle and Shuckachash.
Yeah. There you go. Wow, nostalgia. Moon Knight's. You know, I haven't not played him ever, but he's my 34th most played hero. I've played him for a whopping 2 games.
2 5-minute games. 10
minutes. Yeah. Again, I question the accuracy. A game is not 5 minutes.
No, I doubt that you played. I doubt that you played a full game with him either time. It sounds like you swapped to try him out in a couple of games, probably.
That might have been what it was. Yeah, it was so long ago. I don't even remember when it was. Yeah. This was probably season 0, honestly, that I played Moon Knight. So
that's actually a good point. Yeah, that's a good point to bring up right away. For me, the reason why he was so high up here, that he was up here as one of my heroes.
Oh yeah, right.
I played him a whole bunch in season 0, and then a little bit in 1.0, and then I basically didn't play him at all until a couple weeks ago. I saw that he was going to be my next hero spotlight, and I went, "Oh shoot, I haven't played Moon Knight in 4 months. I need to start playing him." So I've been playing a lot of him in the last couple weeks, and been trying to learn what I can about how he plays now. But this is a weird one for me because it's not someone that I'm constantly picking. Although I'm enjoying him quite a bit now that I've been playing him. But
well, you're enjoying him enough that you bought his Phoenix skin. So
I did.
Looks freaking incredible.
I almost got the MVP in the last game I played with him, and it got stolen from me by someone on my team right at the end. I was like, no, I wanted to see the fire cape and the. Anyway. Yeah. All right, let's talk.
Yeah,
let's talk lore. Yeah. So Moon Knight is Mark Spector, who is a former mercenary. When he was a kid, his dad was a rabbi who escaped the Nazi occupation of what was then known as Czechoslovakia. It's now known as Czechia.
Dang, that's metal.
But he got in his first fight for his life as a child when he had to protect himself from a close family friend who they ended up finding out wasn't actually another rabbi, but was secretly a Nazi deserter and serial killer who was trying to kill them.
When the Nazis aren't hard enough for you, that you have to leave to do.
Yeah. So he fends the guy off, but the trauma causes him to develop dissociative identity disorder. And that causes the creation of his alters, Stephen Grant and Jake Lockley, who will come back later. Because of this, his father ends up putting him in a psychiatric hospital. And at some point around that point of going to the hospital, he starts hearing Khonshu's voice, who is the Egyptian moon god. Although he doesn't actually have any affiliation with Khonshu yet at this point. So at some point later, he ends up joining the Marines for a bit, hiding his condition and everything so that he can get in. But he gets dishonorably discharged after he has some erratic behavior, and they find out about his past. And so then he becomes a mercenary and does a lot of gun for hire kind of work. During one specific job, he has a partner that he's working with. They're trying to find some Egyptian tomb or something. And he turns on this partner when they decide that they're going to kill an innocent girl who was leading them to the archaeological site of this tomb. So Mark defends this girl. Yeah, and his partner in turn wounds him mortally. And they kind of did this a little bit, not as the origin story, but they did this kind of sequence in the Moon Knight show where he's like crawling, pretty much almost dead, and he like crawls to the temple. And so basically he ends up dying though, and the other people who were there on the site end up taking him and putting him beneath the altar of Khonshu that is in this tomb. And then at that point, Khonshu promises to save his life in return for his service. And Mark agrees, but thinks that it's a hallucination, because why wouldn't you think it was a hallucination?
That's what he do.
Yeah. So he does become Moon Knight, though. It was real. Or was it? Or it was? Or was it? And after winning a fortune gambling, like, what? The writers just decided, I guess, that he needed to have a bunch of money to be Batman. Yeah. So
naturally,
he just won it gambling, I guess. He essentially sets his different personalities into different roles to keep his new Moon Knight vigilante mission going. So Stephen Grant ends up taking all the money, becoming a very rich man, and uses his resources to finance the operation. And Jake Lockley becomes a cab driver to grow like a network of street level informants to find out what's going on in the city around them. And then, most Moon Knight stories from there on, once it's all set up, is just very many years of variations of Moon Knight either being a street level vigilante or being called upon by Khonshu to do some grand cosmic scale battle sort of thing against some other god or whatever.
Yeah.
And most Moon Knight stories have him basically just trying to manage his mental health and stability. And at least 3 times he's died, only for Khonshu to say, "I'm not done with you yet," and just bring him back. There's kind of a reference to that in game, one of his death lines when you're coming back from Spawn. He just says, like, "Khonshu, why won't you let me rest?" That's because, like, in Marvel lore, he's immortal as long as Khonshu decides that he's still using him.
Right.
So it's kind of like a reluctant immortality kind of deal. Here's just some random Moon Knight things. He beat all the Avengers at one point.
Yeah, what?
Just one-on-one, took them out, somehow stole their powers with some weird thing that was going on. So he probably worked his way up from whoever was the easiest to Hulk. But
dang.
Yeah, beats all the Avengers at one point. He's joined a few Avengers teams at different points, like the West Coast Avengers. Um,
Hmm.
and his house is actually a cosmic entity, which is
Oh,
interesting. So
that's
there's
fun.
it was like a Doctor Strange story where there was this house that everyone was saying was haunted, and Doctor Strange realizes that it's actually some entity from another dimension that like got
Oh,
stuck here, and he sends it back, and then I guess the entity's like realm is in war, and the people who took it over end up sending this thing to limbo instead, and then it ends up back in New York somehow and takes over another building. It like lives like by
yeah,
haunting the
yeah.
building or whatever.
Buildings, yeah, yeah.
And apparently it's like someone asked Moon Knight to come take care of it and like get rid of it. And he finds out by talking to it
That it's actually just a chill
mentally.
guy.
Yeah, it's a chill guy. It really just wants someone to live in it. It just wants to be a house for someone. And so
Yeah,
Moon Knight's like, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. And so he tells him about his old rundown base and says like, can you just take that place over and I'll live there? And it goes, okay, yeah, sure. So now he has a living house that
yeah. He's like, I've had a bunch of other entities living inside of me. Now it's my turn to live
it's so well
inside
fitting for
of this
him.
other entity. Yeah.
Even his house has a personality. Yeah.
Right, right.
Um, yeah. So I thought that was interesting. Um, and then another interesting Moon Knight trivia is for a long time it was actually super ambiguous whether Khonshu was even real or not.
Yeah, I
Um,
liked that a lot.
they did that in the show, right?
Yeah,
Where like spoilers, like the last couple episodes, you're trying to figure out was any of this real at all.
right, right.
And apparently that's just been a long standing Moon Knight thing of like, is this real or is it not?
Yeah.
Um,
I prefer it that way for sure.
well, it is actually real. It's become
Yeah,
clear over time that Khonshu
I
is
know.
real. Mark really is the Moon Knight, but that due to his condition, Mark does imagine a lot of the conversations with Khonshu that never actually happened. So even though the setup is real, there's a lot of times where Khonshu tells him to do something that's just not true. Like it just never actually happened. And so you're still
Yeah.
trying to piece together what's really going on here, which I think is interesting.
Right,
There's
right.
also like mystery and retcons back and forth, but I think you're gonna like this one. There's retcons and mystery that have gone back and forth over whether Mark was dissociative before meeting Khonshu, like the official story
Hmm.
says, and he was
Ah,
just a convenient host for Khonshu's different aspects because he already was split into pieces,
right.
or if Khonshu actually did this to Mark to make him a fitting host and then implanted all these memories in him to make him think that he was already like this. So
Interesting.
that is
Interesting.
unsolved, and it goes back and forth depending on the writer about which one is more likely.
Well, and Khonshu himself is like a kind of gray character
Hmm.
where like he's there's a like enemy of my enemy aspect to him
Yeah,
where the things that he is fighting are very bad, but Khonshu is certainly not good.
yeah. And they actually talk about one of the reasons why him being dissociative would make him a good host for Khonshu is because Khonshu himself has a whole bunch of very different arenas and facets of his personality and stuff that
Yeah.
like Khonshu might be like this too. Is
Mm,
it's like another weird parallel.
interesting.
So
Yeah.
he's got there's like four facets of Khonshu: the Pathfinder, the Embracer, the Defender, and the Watcher of Overnight Travelers.
Yeah.
Um, and somewhere in there, I think the Defender one is the Vengeance God part. And so like
Yeah.
all of these things kind of get split up into different parts of Mark. I think with it being Stephen, Mark, and Jake, and then Moon Knight himself, even though Moon Knight is Mark, like they all kind of get split up into yeah.
Right, right.
Anyway,
Yeah,
it's
one of
weird, but it's
my
cool weird.
favorite like literary tropes is the unreliable narrator, and
Mhm.
I love how this blends that with the cosmic aspect, like a supernatural question aspect of like, is it happening? Like, is this real? Like, not only is the narrator potentially unreliable, but like, are their experiences unreliable too? Like
Yeah.
that, I love that kind of intrigue.
Yeah.
So Moon Knight's super cool to me, which is weird with how much I like that and how good the show is and Oscar Isaacs and all that. Like I haven't had much interest in playing him at all.
Well, hopefully this will change that.
Yeah. Oh, I hope
think
so.
he's fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so powers before we move on. Brain power? Question mark. They make a lot in the Khonshu Moon Knight comics about his brain, like being a superpower in a weird way, because of what Khonshu's done to it. So he's got a resistance to telepathy, and when people try to go into his mind, it tends to just like massively overwhelm them because of
Yeah.
how like
Right.
disorienting it is in there.
Yeah.
And so there's kind of this idea that like he's incredibly good at defending his mind from attack because no one else can like navigate it like he can,
Right.
and it overwhelms everyone else. And he
like
actually like counterattacks with his own, like he doesn't have telepathic powers, but when someone goes into his head, he actually counterattacks and has made some of his enemies just go like catatonic who tried to get into his head.
Right. I love that. That's such a good. That's super fun.
And then I mentioned this, he's immortal as long as Khonshu decides he is.
Yeah.
And then he's been given a lot of temporary powers over time during different stories based on things that Khonshu or other deities are doing. But typically he doesn't really have any other powers. He's mostly just a vigilante who can't really die, right? So he's a really good martial artist, weapons master of guns, throwing knives, hand-to-hand combat, all sorts of different things. He's got the crescent darts that he likes throwing around.
Random BS go.
Yeah, exactly.
Famous meme.
And then he has a really high pain tolerance. But there's various theories as to why that is. It could be because he's died so many times and like his nerve endings are shot. It could be because of like he dissociates and doesn't feel things when he doesn't want to. You know, like there's all sorts. It could be that Khonshu's protecting him somehow. There's all sorts of weird theories about why it is. But he can take a lot of punishment without really feeling much.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So that's Moon Knight. His first appearance in comics was Werewolf by Night number 32 in May 1975. And
It's
then
actually earlier than based on like the kind of narrative going on in his story. That's earlier than I thought. I thought that Moon Knight was like 80, like at least,
I can see that.
At most 80s.
Yeah. He's 50 years old this year.
Yeah, wow, that's surprising.
And then his first appearance in the MCU is Moon Knight. Yeah. And
right.
it's his only appearance so far. I hope they bring him back for something, but it's been kind of one of the most self-contained
I know.
Disney Plus shows that they've done.
It's a shame that they didn't continue. Oscar Isaacs is phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard rumors that there's going to be a second season, but I don't know when it's happening. But one random piece of trivia, though, about the show that I thought was interesting. When they had Steven and Mark talk to each other face to face, right? There were a lot of scenes where they would have both of them talking to each other, like physically embodied, especially towards the end. They brought Oscar Isaac's brother in to stand in for one of them. So he was talking to his brother all of those times, and then they would flip, and then film the other half of it.
How funny!
I just thought that was cool.
I wonder why. That's really it. That's cool.
Yeah, I guess he's helped him in other projects of his. Like, I don't think he's an actor himself, but he's like been involved in a lot of his other stuff. So,
interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if they just have a good relationship and he just wants his brother around. I don't know, but voice actor in Rivals is Eric Bra. And what else has he done? A bunch of characters in Smite, multiple characters in the Walking Dead Telltale games.
Nice. I love those.
Draven and Jax in League of Legends.
No way! Oh my gosh! Wow. I haven't played League of Legends in literally like at least a decade. But Draven was my main character. Draven was.
Oh, nice.
Wow, that's so interesting. Yeah, he's kind of like got a low, gruff voice, much like Moon Knight does. Wow, how interesting.
Yeah, and then the last one for you indie platform fans is he's the narrator in Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which is the second Ori game.
Yes.
And not Will Arnett. He's not Will Arnett. It's Eric Bra. I still only hear Lego Batman Will Arnett every single time he speaks in game.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Well, cool. That was fun. Thank you for the deep dive into Moon Knight. Let's get into his character breakdown and rivals. So he is, of course, a duelist, and based on our sub-role breakdown, he is a sustain poke character. And his abilities are as follows, starting with his primary, his left click, Crescent Dart. So he unleashes his Crescent Darts forward that can bounce between enemies and onks, dealing damage to enemies. So it's a triple shot, like a pulse rifle, straight trajectory, does 25 damage per dart. He has 30 of these, so he can fire it 10 times. And 0.05 seconds between shots, 0.5 seconds between rounds of shooting. So it's the three go out really, really quick. And then he has the half a second between throwing the next three. They can crit. Damage fall off starts at 30 meters, decreasing to 50% at 50 meters. And the damage fall off applies to the bouncing effect too. He gets negative 20% per bounce. And then the maximum bounce distance, so between enemies and onks, is 7 meters. Once you're past that, you're out of the radius of getting bounced. And it can bounce a number of 3 times. This is one that we're starting with. This is like, I think out of all of the characters that we've done so far, like Moon Knight's primary attack is literally like his kid. Like it's such a significant part of it. More so
It is
I
very,
think,
very
maybe anyone else.
Yeah, so there's a lot to talk about with this, like
Yeah.
because it is 3 separate shots. You have to kind of lead each shot when you're like tracking someone who's moving. So there's some skill involved, extra skill involved in aiming at moving targets with Moon Knight, because you can't just like click it on them and whatever. But they don't show a projectile thing, so it looks like he is hit scan though. Am I right about that?
But he's not.
I don't think he is. It doesn't seem like it is, especially because they bounce. But
Yeah,
they don't have a fire
projectile
like
speed.
a projectile
Yeah,
speed.
right.
They feel like they're pretty slow, to be honest.
Right.
I feel like you have to lead the shots quite a bit. But so here's the deal with this: 25 per round. You hit someone with all 3, you're doing 75 damage to them. But usually with Moon Knight, you're trying to hit people that are, a lot of times you're trying to hit the tanks that are near other people, because the tanks are big, easy targets to hit. And then you're bouncing things off of them. And the number of bounces being 3 is really important here, because what that means, and I think number of bounces is kind of a weird way to say it, because it can hit 3 things. As far as I understand it, you don't hit the main one and then bounce 3 times. It's that you can hit 3 things, as far as I understand it.
Okay.
Because when we get to the Ankh, the suggestions I've heard is that with the Ankh, like, you're trading consistency for not doing as much damage. Because if you hit the target first and then it bounces off the Ankh and back at the target, you're hitting the target twice. If you hit the Ankh first, it bounces off the target and then back to the Ankh, you're only hitting the target once, right? So you get more damage by not aiming at the Ankh, but the Ankh doesn't move, so it makes it easier to do things. So anyway, all that to say, with the bounces, you think if you hit someone with all 3 of them, that's 75 damage, which is nice. 75 damage essentially every 2/3 of a second.
Yeah,
it's pretty nice. But what you really want is you want it to bounce. And you want it to bounce and then bounce back onto the main target, right? So that main target, if you hit them twice, because you hit them with both bounces, that bounce that hits the second target, it's so hard to talk about this. So you hit the main target for 75, then you hit a second target for 80% of that. Then you hit the main target again, and now you get it for 60% of that. So you're really doing, what would 60% be? It'd be somewhere around 42, 43 or something. So you're really hitting them for 120-ish, 118, something like that. That stacks up pretty quick. So
Yeah.
You're going to see with Moon Knight a huge difference, not only in damage spread out amongst characters when you're bouncing them off multiple people, but even in damage to your primary target is going to go up by 60% if you're bouncing it.
Right.
So you really want to get the bounces. That's all that's what I'm saying is this isn't that hard to do in practice, is, aim at someone and hope and try to bounce it off of someone else and hit them again. But
yeah,
there's a lot of math underneath that. And it can critical hit. That is important, is that it can critical hit.
Now, do you know if you, I assume the answer is no, but just to put it out there, the critical hit only applies on your initial fire of these. The bounces can't critical hit.
That's a great question. That's something I should patch note. And
I feel like that's got to be the answer, because that would be crazy if just like critting on the initial shot guarantees a crit, because that'd be the only way it would work, because the actual bouncing projectile has no, like, it's not targeting any part of the character.
It's just hitting the middle of them.
It's just hitting them. Yeah.
I highly doubt they're gonna have the crescent dart headshot everyone because you headshot the first person. So it's probably just a crit on the first person.
Right.
Which, if it's a 1.5 crit, which I would assume it probably is, that brings it up. What? That brings it up to like 115-ish, and then if you hit them again on the way back, now you're doing like 150 every time if you're hitting headshots and it's bouncing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, killing a character in literally 1 second is some of that super nasty stuff that you will see with really good Moon Knights.
And that's a big thing about playing him, is you're gonna have this really weird. It's really hard to track how much damage you're doing. Like, you feel like you're not doing a ton, and then you get a couple good bounces, and all of a sudden maybe a headshot in there, and you feel like you just melt people.
You're like, oh, I wiped the entire team.
Yeah, the DPS output is super variable based on how many things are bouncing. If it's just your left click or your right click, like if you get headshots, all this kind of stuff. There's a lot of variability there.
See, it's so weird. Like, I just don't understand why I haven't wanted to play him very much, because I've as I've mentioned many times, like, I'm drawn to uniqueness. I'm drawn to unique character designs and play styles and things like that. I was a Destiny pulse rifle boy, so the triple shot thing is something that I'm very used to and feel really comfortable with. I gotta play Moon Knight after this.
I have a theory that I'll get to when we get to a couple abilities further down the list on why he hasn't interested you, and it's spoiler. It's because I think people instinctually play him in the worst possible way to play him. So I think he doesn't look as interesting because people play him wrong. But
that's exciting. Let's get to it then. So his right click is a moon blade. So he launches forward a moon blade that can bounce between enemies and Ox, dealing damage to enemies. Same kind of functionality as his primary click. So projectile fires in a straight trajectory. It's just one. It does 80 damage, has a 6-second cooldown. It can also critical hit. This one moves at 120 meters per second, so it's fairly slow. Damage fall off begins at 30 meters, decreasing to 50% at 50 meters, same exact as his primary. And then same thing with the negative 20% per bounce. Same bounce distance at 7 meters, and same bounce amount with 3. It's not updated on the list yet, but this is also the ability that got buffed in the recent patch, and now it grants you bonus health. Not bonus. Is it bonus health, or is it? Okay, yeah. Okay, I was right. So now it grants you bonus health. Do you have the number on that? Do you know what that is?
It's 25 for each person you hit. So
which is crazy.
Yeah, if you get all 3 bounces, then you're getting 75 health here. And what in the most recent patch, like last week, they brought him up from 250 health to 275.
Yeah, 275.
So now, if you're Moon Knight, you're at full health, and you hit a good Moonblade on a group of people, you're sitting at 350 health for a little while, which is really nasty, especially for someone who's so long range and poking. Like, it's not like you're up in people's faces most of the time.
Right.
Most of the time. But so this one, I mean, this one's really nice because it's just kind of like the Scarlet Witch right click. you're just getting an extra like chunk of damage. Like if you think, the other one's throwing out 3 projectiles with 30 damage each, and then you just every 6 seconds can throw out one of 80 with all the other same things, being able to bounce it off of people, all that kind of stuff. It's a really nice chunk of damage. And there's the classic Moon Knight combo is basically you left click, right click, left click, and you'll delete a lot of people. It's not hard. It's just hard to hit all of it unless you're doing an Ankh, and you're pulling down the damage if you do it with an Ankh. So
what's really funny about this? I've never realized it. This ability is literally like, well, no. I mean, like, this is gonna sound insulting, and I don't mean it to be insulting, but like, this is one of the like laziest abilities. It's literally just his primary attack, but better.
Yeah.
There's no difference whatsoever. It has the exact same like damage fall off, exact same amount of bounces, exact same mechanics. It's literally just like, here, throw out an extra primary fire with more damage, and now with the shielding benefit. But like functionally, you don't use like well, so maybe tell me, am I wrong about this? Like functionally, you don't use it any different than you would your primary attack. Like, is that right? Is there like certain situations that you're trying to look out for with this, or
there's certain ones? For the most part, I'll use this off cooldown if I've got a good group of enemies going on. If I'm just shooting at one person like a tank and they're not close to being dead, I might save this.
Okay.
Specifically now, because of the bonus health, it's nice to get when you're in a one-on-one, if you can get some bonus health in the middle of it. But the big one is like, this is your good like finishing someone off who's running away tool, because you only have to hit one shot instead of hitting 3 of the smaller ones to get almost the same amount of damage. So this is really good for finishing people off and stuff like that. But if you're shooting into a group of people, which is what you're hoping you're doing most of the time, right? If you're shooting into a group of people, I'm just using this on cooldown because it's just so much damage.
Right.
So I mean, there's a little bit of nuance because of the bonus health and because of just it being a big chunk, but for the most part, you're treating it the same way as your left click.
Well, and they don't. It's funny. I feel like there's a surprising amount of information that they don't list here in the stats. But his primary attack is like true, like straight line. You have to be like on the reticle. The radius is very small, but at least visually, the Moonblade is like pretty large. Like, do you feel? Wide, yeah. Do you feel that the entire width of the Moonblade like is effectual?
Yeah,
okay. So you can hit it with any part of it.
Which is another good reason to use it when you're trying to like finish someone off who's running away.
Yeah.
Because it's got a bigger hitbox as far as I understand it.
And then in a one-on-one scenario, let's say like you're getting outclassed by someone, if you throw an Ankh down and you hit them with the Moonblade, with them in the Ankh radius, you'll get the 75 bonus health, right? Because it's going to do the 3 bounces.
That's a good question. I want to say that the Ankh does not give you the bonus health, so I think you would get 50 in that case.
So it'll do the 2 bounce. Got it.
You hit them, you get 25.
Hit the Ankh,
but if you hit the Ankh first, then I think you only get 25. So that's another one of those things. This is a small beginning of what I was talking about people playing him wrong. Is people will treat it like, oh, the Ankh is like, what I want to do on Moon Knight is just put an Ankh down,
throw an Ankh and shoot it. Die. Because
sometimes aim. Sometimes that is what you want to do, but typically you want the Ankh in the middle of a bunch of people that you're hitting on your own, because then you're doing twice as much damage to them.
Yeah, there's a Moon Knight YouTube short or Instagram reel, whatever, that I saw that made me laugh. Where I think it was Spider-Man from his perspective. He was like, do all Moon sorry, super insulting to Moon Knight. I have nothing against Moon Knight, but he was like, all Moon Knight characters sharing the same brain cell, and it's Spider-Man like dives Moon Knight, and Moon Knight throws they're like in a hallway, and Moon Knight throws the Ankh down and just starts firing at it, and Spider-Man just like stops and stares at him for a few seconds as Moon Knight is like furiously throwing into the Ankh, doing absolutely no damage to Spider-Man, and Spider-Man just goes, one web shot and kills him.
Yeah, no, that is
like, what
that
the
is
heck
how
are
a
you
lot
doing?
of people play him. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we'll get to that. But in order to get to that, let's talk about the Ankh.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about the Ankh, so let's talk about the Ankh. So his E ability is Ancient Ankh. So he fires the Ankh Ankh to launch up enemies within its radius toward the center. So it's that like gravity well effect. So single line, straight line projectile that generates a spell field upon impact. It's on a 12-second cooldown, moves at 60 meters per second. It's pretty slow. 7-meter bouncing range, 5-meter spherical radius, pull in range, and then the pull in damage effect is 20. So if I'm right about this, the maximum, like hitting someone with the Ankh, the actual impact of the Ankh doesn't do anything. It's the pull in damage that does 20. So the Ankh only ever does 20 damage, no matter what.
Yeah, and you really want to be shooting it at their feet, not at them.
Right.
If it hits a shield or something, it just disappears.
Mm.
So yeah, you want to be hitting it at the feet. But honestly, I think most people don't even realize that it launches people up and does that pull-in effect when it hits people. I think people just throw it out and start shooting at it. But that is very useful, because what that means is that if you hit a group of people, it's going to collect them for you and push them up into the air where they can't do as much for just a split second, which you need to finish your animation of you throwing it out and get you into shooting, right? But that means that it's also serving them up so that like you can aim up a little bit and start shooting the people that you hit with it, not just start shooting the Ankh if you have that moment, because it's going to do more damage that way, right?
Right.
But of course, being able to bounce your blades off of this is incredibly useful and a source of incredible amounts of damage. Super useful for one-on-ones, even just to drop it right at the foot of the person who's on top of you and start shooting them or it, whatever. I mean, as much as I want to disabuse people of the notion that what you're supposed to do is throw the Ankh down and then shoot at it, that is still very useful, and it's a very good thing to be able to do.
Yeah.
It's just you're not a Ankh shooting bot, like that Instagram video makes it seem.
Right.
But yeah, I think it's very easy to think of this as being the core of his kit, where you're just thinking, oh, I need an Ankh. But like a lot of your damage is going to come from hitting people who are next to other people directly.
Yeah. The
more
Ankh,
so than this. This is a backup plan.
Right. The Ankh is a complement to the other abilities, not the other abilities are a complement to the Ankh. And I think that that's suggested by the cooldown too, because 12 seconds, that's a long time. And am I just like hallucinating? Does he has 2 charges of this, right?
No, he only has 1.
Oh, okay. He only has 1.
However, this will never die if people don't take out its health, which they don't say how much it is. I don't think it's that much.
Yeah.
But this doesn't like die after a certain amount of time. This doesn't have some sort of, if you get out of range, it goes away. If you put one in a spot on the map at the beginning of the game, it will be there until someone shoots it. So in dead moments, if you just team wiped a team, you can use these to set up a car wash or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Come back.
Yeah.
You can have a couple of them out
PTSD. Symmetra PTSD.
So
I love playing Symmetra.
Yeah, it's on a decently long cooldown, but if you've got a couple seconds to set up for a fight, you can get one out there and have it ready just right when they get back, and then already have a cooldown for another one by the time it gets there. Trying to think what else to say about this thing. I think the thing that go ahead.
Oh, the thing that I think of is just like how creative you can get with it, like positionally. When it comes to like interacting with the terrain, there have been a couple situations where I've gotten killed by a Moon Knight because of the Ankh, and I never even saw it. Like I never even knew where it was because they've got it wedged in some nasty corner that has an opening which makes my hitbox accessible, but like I can't even see the Moon Knight. And I'm dead. So
yeah, I gotta say, like the level 1 Moon Knight is you throw it on the ground right in front of people, but that gets it destroyed really quickly a lot of times, sometimes faster than you can even get ready to start shooting it.
Right.
But I get so much damage and so many kills off of throwing it and doing the doing the classic like I think Arrow had this gag a couple times, but most like archery superheroes have this gag at some point where they shoot past someone and the enemy's like, "Ha, you missed," and then he's like, "No, I didn't," and it blows up and like takes the entire building down on top of him or whatever. You can get a lot of mileage out of shooting it at a wall behind someone and then shooting that person, and whether you hit them or you miss, you're hitting the Ankh behind them and doing damage to them either way, right? Like people don't back away from walls very quickly when they don't realize where it is. The other thing is you can use this to be surprisingly nasty against flyers. They are hard to hit with the they're hard to hit because of the delay between each shot and they're moving a lot. But there are a lot of places on maps where people use flyers where there's a building next to them, there's a pillar next to them, and they're never going to turn around and look at a pillar that's like 30 feet up in the air because they're not expecting anyone to flank them. They're not expecting anything like that way up there. And so there are a lot of times where I'll put it on a ceiling right above a flyer, I'll put it on a wall right behind them, and they'll just sit there because they don't have no idea what's going on.
Right.
And that's probably his most like consistent way to take out flyers because the aim is so difficult to hit on moving targets like that. So I wouldn't necessarily pick him as a counter to flyers, but if you are playing Moon Knight and they have an Ultron or something, look for the walls, look for how because they're going to be grabbing cover because they need to in order to stay alive. And now you can use cover against people.
One last thing about the Ankh, I'm pretty sure I'm right about this, but clarify. The cooldown starts as soon as you activate the ability. It doesn't start once the Ankh has been destroyed, like a penny nest or something like that. Okay, cool.
Yeah, because you can have multiple of them out.
Right.
Yep.
And that really helps it feel like less time.
Yeah. So these three abilities that we've talked about really are the core of his kit. Those are, his main damage abilities, his main things that you're thinking about. All of the rest of this is just a massive utility belt that people like completely underutilize. And so this is where take a hint from all of the tools that this kit is giving you that you don't think about other than just to escape divers. Let's think through each of these things that it's giving you because Moon Knight is one of the most mobile characters in the game and most people stand still and shoot with him.
Well, the thing that I definitely never think about when fighting Moon Knight or in the two games I've played with Moon Knight is that he has a special melee with his truncheon, the triple eclipse attack. So he performs a combo with the truncheon and the third strike will launch up an enemy hit slightly. So much like Invisible Woman's Groot's, the same kind of like triple melee thing. I don't know how much damage this does. It doesn't say. Have you found much utility for this?
I meleeed someone to death today. People dive on you a lot as Moon Knight, and you have a lot of ways to escape. But sometimes, like they're kind of low, or you're hitting them with an Ankh a bunch, and like you just kind of melee a couple times to finish them off. They never really expect it.
Right.
I haven't gotten a ton of use out of the third strike launching people up, but that is a really nice thing, especially for his kit. You like launching people in the air; it keeps them stationary for longer. To interrupt stuff. It lets you set up an Ankh, like those kind of things. So I could totally see a situation where if you can pull this off, then you hit the third strike, they launch up, you throw an Ankh on the ground, you start shooting it, or start shooting them when they're coming back down. I could see that for defending yourself.
Yeah.
But it's not like it's kind of like Loki. It's not quite Loki's backstab.
Yeah, backstab passive.
But it's a little bit more like Invisible Woman's one, where it's like it's good in kill combos, but like it's not something that I'm thinking about all the time.
Now, and this isn't a weapon swap like it is for Black Widow's truncheons. It's just you hit the melee ability. You're not actually
just melee.
Yeah. Cool. Well, his next ability is just his jump. So he has a rising leap. He can do a double jump. That's on a 6-second cooldown.
Yeah, and 6 seconds is not that long. So,
no, not at all.
I mean, this gives him pretty great mobility. Well, let's just talk about the next ability because it's mostly useful for the next one.
Yeah, combine that with his shift Night Glider, so he can hold shift to glide, and he flies around 8.7 milliseconds meters per second meters per second of horizontal movement speed, and he descends at 1.5 meters per second.
Yeah, so this is a fantastic traversal tool. 8.7 meters a second. If you think about it, most characters are moving at 6 meters a second. So you gain quite a speed boost by doing this. You can use this to escape. You're a little bit, obvious with the gliding aspect of it, but he will stop gliding when you're like a certain distance above the ground. So I didn't understand what was going on for a long time, where I would like double jump over a wall and try to glide right at the top of the wall, and he would just like put his wings out and then stop immediately.
Right.
Yeah, so you have to, when he gets to, like a couple meters above the ground, he'll start the animation to like pull his wings in and land. But if you keep holding shift, he'll put it back out if you're just like flying over a wall or something. But if you're ever confused, that's what that is. But this is really good for getting to angles, getting away. It's kind of like the Invisible Woman double jump. Like if someone jumps on you and you're not prepared to fight them, you double jump and then you start gliding behind you and just get out.
I've also just realized right now how actually Batman Moon Knight is.
Yes, he is.
Literally batarangs, gliding with his cape, nighttime crazed mask wearing vigilante, and with a grappling hook, his F ability, Moonlight Hook.
He is Marvel Batman, yeah.
Yeah, how funny. Wow, I've never put that together. Launches a frontal grappling hook that pulls Moon Knight toward it. So 15-second cooldown for this one, 25-meter range for the hook, that pulls him a maximum distance of 21.5. Wait, what does that mean? He moves at 120 meters per second, but the maximum distance is 21.5 meters per second.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Maybe it's just 21.5 meters. Because it doesn't pull you all the way to the hook. It pulls
right.
So.
Yeah.
So this, again, fantastic escape tool. There's some work that you can do on this in the practice range to figure it out, because there's some weird physics about how high or far or whatever he actually jumps based on this, because you do stop moving towards the hook once you're a certain distance away from it, and you jump up. And weirdly, it seems like so there's a tech with Moon Knight where if you just grapple the ground right below you, you just bounce off the ground and you go flying into the air quite a bit.
Oh, whoa.
So this was something that they buffed going into season 2, where they made the time it actually takes him to deploy the hook a lot shorter to make it a better escape tool. And this is the way to escape with it, is you just aim at the ground right below your feet and you go flying and then you glide away.
Wow.
So if you've ever been fighting a Moon Knight and he just disappears, that's probably what he did.
Can you still double jump after that burst? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then, it's also really good, like Penny's grapple, for getting up onto really high things. You can, double jump and then use the hook, like all sorts of things like that. So between these 3 movement abilities, you can get almost anywhere. You can find all sorts of like crazy angles. But the other thing is with the double jump, you can bunny hop your way while you're shooting at an Ankh. And because the Ankh is stationary target, you're going to hit it pretty like easily, but you're going to be a really hard target to hit from people. So rather than just standing in one place, there's, especially when you have the Ankh down, there's a lot of like, you can be hella, but you're moving a bunch. You know what I mean?
Right.
There's a lot of like ability that he has to be mobile. The other thing is, between these 3 abilities, he has so much movement in such like a burst of movement, where, the grappling hook pulls you insanely fast across 25 meters, which is crazy. And then you can double jump, and then you can fly at 8.5 meters a second.
Right.
You can reposition in ways that people do not think is possible.
Yeah. It's giving Spider-Man energy.
Yeah, you really can almost Spider-Man your way around. And that is something that I think is TDT's or was it Cool Guy? It was Cool Guy's Moon Knight guide. Yeah, Guy's Moon Knight guide. He talked about his typical way that he plays Moon Knight, and I've been adopting this, and it's been so much more fun. Is he will alternate between sitting behind his team, kind of in the mid back line, and just like making sure that the enemy knows that there's a Moon Knight peppering them with things, right? And he'll spend a good 30 seconds just chucking a bunch of things at them, building up his ult, all this kind of stuff, maybe getting some kills when they're grouped up. And then he'll leave And the psychological like water torture effect will keep people thinking, you like the dripping, 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 and then like
Yeah.
it stops and you think it's still happening. Like he'll leave, and he's saying so many times people will still be thinking there's a Moon Knight pounding on me
Yeah.
from somewhere in the back line. And they
Right.
won't notice him get completely up behind them on some other thing because he can move
Ooh.
so quick. And
Yeah.
then you just delete them from the side where they're not looking. And then you
Gross.
disappear again with your movement and go back to your
Yeah.
back line and just kind of poke and poke and poke until they forget about you. And so there's a
Also,
lot of
literally Batman.
there's a lot of
Where are you?
where are you, Batman? Yeah, exactly. So that is a really fun way to play Moon Knight, where you use his mobility as a tool to disorient the enemy team, because they will notice, just like when you have a Punisher or a Squirrel Girl.
Yeah.
He is that sustained damage where you notice when there's a Moon Knight on the enemy team that just won't stop shooting at you,
Right.
and you get annoyed and you want to charge that back line and find him, and then you just disappear and you're not where they think you are, and
Right.
you eliminate their strategists while the duelists are trying to find you, and then you get back to your team.
Well, shoot, this just gave me more utility to think about for Punisher's zipline in our upcoming
Ooh.
Armed and Dangerous battle to use it for that. Oh,
Yeah.
no, that's really cool.
So anyway, try that Moon Knight. Try that Moon Knight way of playing, the playstyle of like use your mobility to an advantage, because they're giving you more mobility than almost anyone has, and most people use them as a Punisher turret. And
right.
Yeah. And then
Right.
you predictably get killed, right?
Yeah,
When you're
just like
standing
a Punisher
still.
turret.
Yeah.
Well, his final ability is, of course, his infamous Hand of Khonshu, one of the most tuned ults in the game.
Just behind Cloak and Dagger.
Yeah, just barely trailing behind Cloak and Dagger. So he opens up a portal that allows Khonshu to bombard enemies with his talons. Not very Batman-like. Batman does not have Batman is not a warlock like Khonshu. He's missing that aspect of having a patron.
Wow. Warlock Batman. That really is.
Yeah. It's Moon Knight. Tell me it's not.
All right, so now you're gonna main Moon Knight.
I know, right? I love Batman, favorite DC character, and Warlock, favorite D&D class. So let's go. All right, so delayed spherical spell field is what it is. So 75 damage per talon that impacts an enemy. The ultimate lasts for 3 seconds. It's an 8-meter radius area of effect, with each talon creating a 5-meter explosion. There are 14 talons that drop from the portal altogether. It has a delay of 1.5 seconds, so there's like a very brief window where you can yeet yourself out of there before any of the talons start falling.
Or cancel it by killing him, yeah.
Yeah.
During that delay.
Right. And it is a 2,800 energy cost. So one of the lowest energy cost ults in the game. Yeah.
So that 75 per hit on 14 hits, that's 1,050 damage if every one of your talons hit something. That's not going to be the case. They're playing Frogger. That's the goal of having that much damage, is they got to dodge and weave and try to get out of there. And to be quite honest, like with the way that they've tuned it now, people will get out of it quite a bit. Unless, you do it in a building where it's really hard to get out of the room that everyone's in, or, whatever. But you're trying to drop this like directly on somebody, and that person in the middle will not get out. They will die. And the people on the edges are going to be really low. And the other thing is, just like a Mantis ult, where you still have your ability to do everything that you're normally able to do.
Exactly.
You can keep going. You can keep shooting things while this is happening. So you drop it. You drop an Ankh in the middle of it. You start shooting the Ankh. That's a good time to just shoot the Ankh, because there's chaos going around. It's hard to tell what's going on. They're not going to shoot an Ankh in the middle of Khonshu. They're not going to. And so you can clean up a lot of those people who get out with a little bit of health left.
Right. Well, and it's almost identical to the radius too. And this is an 8-meter radius, whereas the Ankh is a 7-meter radius, and the bounce off of both of your abilities is a 7-meter radius too. So you can basically hit everybody who's inside of this ultimate with your ability. So that's some really cool synergy there.
Yeah, 100%. The other thing I would say, you can't use this on purpose, but it is a nice bonus. unlike so many ults, like a lot of the strategist ones, like Invisible Woman, stuff like that, if he dies, this keeps going. So once you get past that cast delay, this is going to happen whether you die or not. So it's not exactly something you want to panic ult with.
Yeah.
Because there's still a 1.5 seconds where they could kill you, and then it whiffs.
Khonshu's martyrdom.
Yeah, but it comes up quite a bit that you die in the middle of it going on, because everyone's looking at you all of a sudden. But it will still go, and you can get a lot of post-mortem kills with this if you have to.
Yeah, it's a cool ult. I like
Good
it. Finally wrapping. Oh, what?
One last thing. That energy cost, you talked about it being really low. It is really low, and I think that's because Moon Knight's damage is very feast or famine, like depending on how much people are grouped up.
Like
but in a game where playing Moon Knight is good, like in a game where people are grouping up together, you get this so fast. You can get this in like the first 20 seconds of the game. It's insane how fast you can get it if you're getting a bunch of onk bounces. So that is a nice benefit to it too.
Yeah. I feel like I see this ult get used a ton for sure. Well, wrapping up his kit, he's got a team up right now, and he has a team up with one of the most played strategists in the game, one of the most played characters in the game. So chances are if you want to play Moon Knight, you're gonna be able to get this team up, and it is Full Moon, which is his Cloak and Dagger team up. So Cloak and Dagger injects light and dark energy into Moon Knight to create a light and dark realm where Moon Knight can become invisible. So lasts for 6 seconds. It's on a 30-second cooldown. Has a 4-meter spherical radius. And while Moon Knight is in that spherical radius, he's invisible. And they buffed this. He regenerates health too.
25 health a second.
Yeah. So a nice little self-heal for himself, which allows him to, again, kind of sit on some of those weird angles where, maybe your healer isn't going to have really easy access to you, or you're not going to be right next to a health pack or something. Like you can save yourself with this, which is really cool.
Yeah,
I've never had a chance to use it myself because I've only played him twice, but it seems really cool.
Yeah, so because Cloak and Dagger are played so much, you get this a lot without even intending it. If you're just thinking I'm going to play Moon Knight, like 50% of the time you have this ult, or you have this team up ability, which is nice. It kind of fits in that category where I like it when I have it, but it's not something that I would pick a character around or like ask someone to play Cloak and Dagger in order to get it, right?
Yeah.
So it kind of works in that spot where it's like, well, you get this like 50% of the time, and it's nice. But this is nice for a couple reasons. The biggest one for me, honestly, is the health that they added to it. I think it wasn't very useful until they added the health to it. But if you stay in it for the entire 6-second duration, you're getting 150 health regen that you can just heal yourself. Like, what duelist can just heal themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Iron Fist.
Well, yeah, but apart from Iron Fist, what duelist can just heal themselves? And again, he's on a sustained poke kind of character. Like this isn't a dive character that's healing himself in the background. It's pretty crazy. On top of that, the invisibility is kind of nice because you can wiggle around in there if you are getting kind of focused and you have been standing in one place and you've got an onk that you're still trying to hit. You can wiggle around in there in the invisible area, and it's a little bit harder for them to hit you.
Again, literally Batman dropping a smoke bomb at his feet and disappearing into the shadows to appear somewhere else.
Unfortunately, though,
I can't unsee this.
Unfortunately, though, it does kind of lead you towards that stand in one place and shoot like a turret kind of thing because it's giving you a little stealth area. So, be careful about that because standing in one place, even if you're invisible, like they know you're somewhere in this tiny bubble. They're going to hit you. But what this is really good for is it's really good for giving you yet another way to avoid getting dived. Like Moon Knight gets dived a lot, and you have so many tools to get out of it. Unlike a lot of the other sustained poke characters, like you don't just have like one cooldown that you can use to escape. You have a double jump, you have a grappling hook, you have gliding, and then when you have Cloak and Dagger, you also can just go invisible and start healing when Spider-Man jumps on you. Like, good luck. He's not going to hit the spiderweb thing when he can't see you. You can still throw down an onk and start shooting at him while that's going on. So this is really good for avoiding being divin but
Yep.
apart from that, yeah, it's just kind of okay.
I was just about to say, wow, I think this is the first time that you didn't refer to getting dived as getting diven, and then you said it.
I was trying to get all three, but I didn't say dove.
No, you didn't say dove. This is the only ability in the game that allows you to do damage while invisible. Like that's huge. Everyone else's invisibility is canceled when they do anything. So that's really cool. Well, I'm definitely excited to play more Moon Knight. I don't think that he's gonna become my like Bucky, where he jumps from being my lowest, like one of my lowest played characters to like in my like top 15.
Yeah.
But I definitely see his viability, especially against certain team comps and play styles.
Yeah. Looking at his skins really quick, he has a lot of them. He has 7 skins right now.
Yeah.
And
they're all really cool.
They're all really cool. I'm really sad because the Blood Moon Knight is the only ranked skin that I don't have because I didn't play ranked in Season 0.
Or the Golden Moon Knight, right?
No, it's the Blood Moon one, right?
No, Blood Moon is from the Season 1 Battle Pass.
Oh, sorry,
Golden Knight.
Golden Moon Knight. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Sorry. That's the one that I don't have. But it's sad to me. But
don't be too sad.
I do have his MCU skin and the Phoenix one.
Yeah. which the MCU skin is awesome.
Yeah. But I bought like 4 skins and 2 of them have been Moon Knight. Which is weird because I don't play him that. I mean, I did historically play him that much, but I got both of those skins after I stopped playing him. I just think he looks so cool.
Right. I'm glad that you have 4 skins.
Which one would you rock if you had a Moon Knight skin?
If I had a Moon Knight skin, I do have the Blood Moon Knight skin. I have to take a moment to say that I think Moon Knight is one of the coolest looking characters in the game. As an edgelord myself, a hooded cloak wearing masked Avenger is always going to be a win in my book. I love the Blood Moon Knight one. I am really sad too, though, about the Golden Moon Knight. That's my favorite one.
Really?
It's and happy Death Stranding 2 Day, in large part because the main antagonist of Death Stranding 1, played by Troy Baker, Higgs, is all Egyptian themed, and he wears a golden mask with a black hood and cloak, and it's just like, ooh, peak aesthetic. Very, very cool. So yeah, black and gold is always a win for me.
Well, to wrap them up, let's just talk pick and win rate and stuff. And this is disappointing.
It's like mummies, it's wrapped.
Wow. This is a bit disappointing, but I think he might have some of the Scarlet Witch effect as well, or some of the Jeff effect as well. He gets played a lot, and his win rate is really low. And I do think most people play him standing in one spot. And so if it's a game where the enemy team is all grouping up and not attacking him, then he wins. But most of the time, he probably doesn't. Yeah. But based on the Hero Hot List Season 2.0 data, he has a 7.87% pick rate, which was the second highest duelist, and a 46.83% win rate, which was the third lowest duelist. So he kind of fit in that high play rate, low win rate kind of deal.
That pick rate just the pick rate just really blows my mind, honestly. Like Moon Knight doesn't seem like that popular of a hero to warrant being the second most played duelist in the game, when you have heroes like freaking, Spider-Man, Iron Man, like all that kind of stuff, especially
in Season 2.0 when it was the dive meta and like it wasn't good for Moon Knight. Like he's not getting to group up. Yeah. But that was heavily influenced on the low ranks. So he like drops off a cliff at Grandmaster and above. Like his pick rate goes down to like one of the lowest in the game, and his win rate is still just as low. So he's a lot more heavily played at lower ranks, much like Scarlet Witch,
who's the highest pick rate. So
yeah, and Punisher's in there somewhere too. But Rivals meta with a little bit more up to date, but less certain data. For this half of the season has him at a 12.75% pick rate. The way that they do it, the pick rates always end up being a lot higher, which is pretty high, and a 45.78% win rate in competitive cross ranks. So not really that different. It might actually be pretty much exactly the same. Again, this is not a great season for him now with all the flying going on. Like you can get some value with that, especially if they're hugging corners and stuff like that, and you can knock them. But I'm not surprised to see that his stats haven't been great the last season, because we really need a brawl meta for him to start like really, feasting on things. He's going to feast when there's a death ball brawl meta, which we haven't had in a while or ever really. So,
right.
I will say though, in quick play this season, he has a 13% pick rate and a 56% win rate. He goes from C tier in comp to S tier in quick play, where people group up and they're not thinking about positioning as much, right?
Right. I was going to say, much like he stands and fires, the enemy team is also doing that 18th century warfare tactics of just hold W and left click, and Moon Knight loves that.
Yeah. So, I mean, just to kind of wrap him up, when do I pick him? What am I picking Moon Knight for? It really is for like anti-death ball brawl kind of deal, which we haven't really seen much of in the last few seasons. So that's why I didn't really play him that much. I played him a lot more in season 0.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping for a season soon where we get more of that brawl, because most of my characters that I like playing the most are in that brawl play style, and then also I like Moon Knight feasting on them. So whenever we get a brawl meta, I'm just going to be over the moon, as I'm going to play twice as much Rivals as I normally do. That season.
Right. Yeah, Moon Knight is one of those characters that like I'm so glad he exists for the identity of Marvel Rivals, because like not every hero is supposed to be good in every situation. Like honestly, the fewer jacks of all trades, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Like I think that makes for a healthier, more interesting game with more longevity to be able to lean into that pick counter pick gameplay. So that's super cool. It sucks that Moon Knight hasn't necessarily seen his he hasn't had his time in the moonlight, but I hope it's coming too, and I want to play him.
I 100% agree with you that like it's a good thing for them to really lean into like specialists, and he really is a specialist. That's why he's been struggling, like, because it just hasn't been his time yet. But like Rivals specifically, because there are so many characters and they're going to pump them out so quickly, they need to, just from a fun perspective, they need to focus on specialist characters so that each new character that comes out feels very different than what we've gotten before. They can't all be middle of the road duelist kind of deal.
Right.
But also, just like, if you're going to justify playing someone when the game has 70, like it's like that in Siege, where they had to do a really good job of keeping all of them very different, while still like filling kind of bigger roles. Because when you're up to 70 characters, like you have to have a reason to pick one over the other. And Rivals doesn't have the ability like Siege does with the attacker defender split to really cut your choices in half every game.
Right.
You're going to have all 70 of them available when we get there next year. So
yeah.
And not next year. It's going to be a couple of years before we're at 70, but yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, cool. Let's close this episode out with Reddit take of the week.
All right.
Our first Reddit take of the week comes from Reddit user Pollution Nice 3987, who says, "What strategists say when you need healing?" And there's a few panels here. The first one is of Dagger saying, "Injured? Just wait 3 minutes and then you're all healed up."
True.
Yeah, and they buffed her healing output like pretty significantly too, for that burst healing. But I know
you get a Groot that you gotta heal as Dagger, and you're waiting for a while.
I mean, Cloak and Dagger were my first like strategist main, and I get that. I feel that. I thought this whole thing was a good compliment to the main topic of not taking responsibility and blaming your healers. So this is what you see from a negative standpoint, but I still think it's funny. The next panel is Jeff. He's so cute. Saying, injured? Stand completely still because I can't aim at a moving target for shoop. Which, yeah, I've seen some Jeffs like trying very hard to heal me, and bless their heart, I appreciate it. But they're like overcompensating, undercompensating, and then I like stand completely still, and I see the stream slowly lock in.
Some of the Jeffs I've seen in this game have made public restrooms make way more sense to me.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Just the aim that I see from Jeff, I'm like, that's how they get that gross. You come in there and they have no idea how to aim.
What a man. I didn't laugh hard enough at that. That was fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Because you're still thinking about the eagle feathers.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about the 2.2 billion bald eagle feathers that are there. And then the next panel is Rocket saying, injured? Just walk into the healing orbs I'm shooting. No, I'm not going to aim at you. I aim at this direction for 10 minutes. You can walk into them yourself or don't get healing because I'm not going to aim at you. Yeah.
Pre-buff Rocket, that was a lot more true, yeah. Now they're trying to aim because they actually get more out of you.
Right. You actually have to make impact, but yeah, I had Bot Rocket, and wait, did I have Bot Rocket on my team for this Armed and Dangerous? I'm trying to think.
He's gonna be on your team. I had Bot Rocket.
That's right.
Yeah,
I think I'm thinking of Battle Matrix Protocol with Bot Rocket, who was incredibly nasty because of all the BRBs. But
dude, my Bot Rocket in the game that we played today was ballsy, man. Like he was placing BRBs. They were the spider nest BRBs. Dude. He was just placing them in the middle of the thing, like where the payload was going to come destroy it in 10 seconds if we kept pushing up.
Right.
And I mean, he was getting kills with it, but I've just never seen an offensive BRB.
My first death to a freaking Rocket BRB team up was to a Bot Rocket.
In the middle of the street, like not even hidden.
Right, because I was so not expecting that. And there were just 4 mines sitting there around the BRB, and I ran past and died.
He was just confident. He was like, I know my team isn't dying, so I don't need to use this for revives. I'll do it as a 45-second 400 damage bomb.
Yeah. And then finally, the last panel is Ultron. And it says, injured? Good. Stay injured. Injured piece of shoop.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, I love that. I would like that. I would like that as an official voice line for Ultron. Make it happen. Make it happen.
I like and in the comments they've got someone saying that Luna and Sue's ones are, can you just please line up? Like
yeah. Yep. All right, and then our second Reddit take of the week. I think there's some really interesting potential here, but we already have a very long episode, so
just a couple highlights.
Yeah. This is from Illustrious Sun 9517. They say, "Give me the best unwritten rules in Marvel Rivals," with a big-headed Jeff picture as the primary image there. I liked the top comment is, if you have 99 points in comp, the next game will be a loss.
100%. That happened to me yesterday.
Yeah. I liked where is it? Oh yeah. This one was very, very connected to our topic, and something that I need to think about. You will pull out the scorecard to see who's to blame once your team starts losing. You might not admit to it or act upon it, but we all do it.
Yeah. Peeling is not the solo tank responsibility. I love that they even specify that it is the solo tank, because there's always only one.
Right. Right. Yeah. Upvote everyone except the ones that don't deserve it.
You have no right to criticize the solo tank if you're one of 3 DPS.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
Ooh, I like this one. I haven't thought
Hmm.
about this. It says if you play as Penny, you have to put mines on the nearest health pack.
Whoa.
I like that.
Dang. That's dirty. That's
Yeah.
dirty, but I do like that.
Well, and then of course, if it's a
Yeah.
venom mirror and one starts throwing it down, you got to answer.
Yeah,
100%.
right. Yes, and in the same vein, my last one that I'll say is never bother the characters that play tic-tac-toe. I've yet to see that in game. I need to make that. I need to initiate that, make it happen. Well,
Nice.
Cool. Thanks everybody for tuning in to episode 21 of our podcast. Feel free to fill one up or pour one out depending on your experience of this episode. For even more Friends and Rivals content, specifically revolving around bald eagle feathers, consider joining us over on Instagram at Friends and Rivals, on X at Friend Rival Pod, or on Discord via the link in the show notes. If you've got a question you'd like us to answer in our next episode, drop it in our Discord chat or in the comments on Spotify for this episode, or send it directly to our Gmail. All right, everybody, we will see you in the multiverse.
See ya.